Adventures Across Disney, My Journey to Win Over Every Princess. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 91. If these birds were Adam's eyeliner, the other party would definitely send exotic beasts to catch him. If not, it would be an opportunity for Xiaowen to find the answer. Thinking about this, Xiaowen no longer thought about it, walking silently ahead, calm and calm. About a kilometer deep into the Warcraft forest, Xiaowen was in front of him and found a huge pig-shaped beast, and its weight seemed to have passed 1,000 pounds. When the other party snored and rushed over with small short legs, Xiaowen stretched out his hand and stabbed the black crystal spear in his palm forward. Under the inertia of the huge force of the alien beast, the black crystal spear instantly penetrated its skull. The little short leg twitched twice, and then there was no sound. Xiaowen stood in place without moving, and usually withdrew his spear. He didn't care about this little episode, just glanced at the red crystal on the pig's head, and then picked it out. The power of fire magic surged slightly, silently erasing the blood and filth on the spear, and then continued to walk forward without incident. This seemingly simple and relaxing scene, but on the ground where he stayed, there was an extra half-foot-long pit, which implied that the power of the collision of the alien beast was not as simple as it seemed. And this scene was also deeply seen by the crows on the branches, the pitch-black pupils, with a mysterious halo. The picture of the battle just now was actually reflected in it, lifelike. 1 hour later, Xiaowen met the second alien beast. It's just that this exotic beast is very strange, a bit like a pangolin, a little like a hedgehog, and a little like a flat-headed brother. It's weird anyway. Xiaowen's spear poked several times, but did not give it a pair of piercings, but left a few blood holes on the body surface, and did not penetrate deep into the internal organs. Although this was what Xiaowen left to rub and play, his strength was no less than that of the alienated creature he had just dealt with. When he put away his contempt and wanted to end the battle quickly, this is a strange beast with spikes all over its body, and it actually wrapped itself into a big ball and rolled towards the rear. When Xiaowen's spear was about to touch it, it actually swooped and fell into a hole and disappeared. It's really a strange creature. Xiaowen's curiosity is not only its appearance. 22, the most important thing is that on this alien beast, he did not see the existence of red crystals, and it has the instinct to seek benefits and avoid harm, and after discovering that Xiaowen was very fierce, without any hesitation, he drilled into the hole he dug. This has long left a good retreat for himself. If you can't beat the essence of being afraid of running, you can play clearly. Xiaowen felt that this was not like a controlled beast, but more like a beast that grew naturally in the Warcraft forest. The alien beasts are all brainless iron beasts, who want to gnaw when they see humans, and don't care if they can fight or not. From the summary of the alien beast slaughtering city, the description of the situation of the alien beast, they are like being erased of the mind, reason, and all emotions. When you see people, there is only one thought left in your head, that is, gnawing people. Whether you eat it or not, gnaw to death. And this alien beast, apparently not like this. Another discovery, it seems. Adam didn't control all the creatures in the Warcraft forest. Muttering to himself, Xiaowen suddenly had a guess in his heart. He looked at the birds flying in the sky, and with a wave of his hand, he knocked down a crow that was bouncing on the branch closest to him. Reaching out to catch the falling crow, Xiaowen turned over and carefully looked at its body. Sure enough, this crow's body surface did not have that red crystal. So, there are still some creatures that Adam can't control? And such a big Warcraft forest, walking for more than an hour, how did you meet 2 creatures except birds? Are they all concentrated and kept in one area? In that case, the Warcraft forest is not so dangerous. Those rumors in the city say that there are no lives here, and it's not true. Ordinary people are lucky and can get out alive. Sure enough. Only by entering here yourself can you discover more problems. A sigh in my heart, Xiaowen continued to walk forward with the regret that it would be good to come early. The morning passed quickly. During this time, Xiaowen encountered another strange beast. When he found the red crystal in the center of the opponent's skull again, he didn't spare his hand at all and directly quacked it. But when Xiaowen drew his spear and prepared to leave, the subtle sound of wind behind him made him suddenly alert. While turning his head, the spear violently wanted to push back towards the backhand. But just halfway through the tip of the gun, it suddenly froze. For behind him a shivering crow is hovering above his head. It is only half a foot away from the tip of the gun. The reason why Xiaowen was stunned and did not make a move was because this crow had a note attached to it. There are 3 big crooked characters written on it. After Xiaowen's brain made up his imagination, he understood that what was written on it should be, "Follow me." What the hell is this? Xiaowen looked at this strange crow, and then looked at the note on its abdomen. After a moment of silence, he still silently put away the spear, and complained angrily in his mouth. Don't you know that men have a strong sixth sense? It's not good where to hide, you have to hide behind me, but if you fly faster, I can eat a roasted crow today. And your words. Can people write it? It's like a ghost drawing talisman, I can't really recognize it without a little imagination. Xiao Wen's complaining did not make the shivering crow make any response. After he saw Xiao Wen retract the spear, he turned pitifully sideways and slowly flew in the other direction. Xiao Wen also stopped his mouth and didn't say more, followed the crow's footsteps, followed the crow, and walked in a certain direction of the Warcraft forest. It's just that although the crow is not flying fast, it is flying after all. Xiao Wen's speed was also several times faster than when he first came in, and the distance deep into the Warcraft forest has long been not a marginal area, but has gradually entered the core area. Before I knew it, it was getting dark. Under the leadership of the little crow, Xiao Wen never encountered any exotic beasts again. Even if he heard movement several times, the little crow would immediately turn around and drive in the other side. Although Xiao Wen felt that it was unnecessary, he would not delay time anyway, and it was best to kill. However, this action of the little crow can let Xiao Wen know that the other party is with goodwill. So he did not stop it along the way, but chose to silently follow behind it, waiting for the arrival of his destination. Xiao Wen also vaguely began to notice in his heart that the place where the other party took him was likely to be where the answer was. Maybe. It has to be friendly. When the moon gradually penetrated into the sky, somewhere in the Warcraft forest, one man and one bird have gradually come from the bottom of the forest to a steep hillside, and under the slopes of thousands of meters, there is a rushing river, with the depth of moonlight, exuding a strange atmosphere. Running steeply on the cliff, Xiao Wen finally came to the flat ground below. The little crow flew upwards of the river and went all the way against the current. Xiao Wen followed behind and ran in a big stride, and the distance between him and the little crow was always within 5 meters. He didn't feel tired, but he felt that the ground was getting lower and lower, and the doubts in his heart began to increase. I don't know. Where will it end up? Along the way, Xiao Wen also found a problem. That is, near this water source, there seems to be no alien creatures. Moreover, the creatures he saw were also normal on the surface, and there were no red crystals on their bodies, nor did they have the phenomenon of violent active attacks on people. The little crows didn't make any more detours, not seeming to care about them. There is such a place in the Warcraft forest? This mountain and water are beautiful, the water is trickling, it is really rare. Xiao Wen looked around a little strangely, and had a special idea in his heart. That's what the Warcraft forest is, and it should be like this. He followed the little crow for an unknown amount of time, until the sky gradually darkened, and the moonlight fell high. The little crow stopped outside a waterhole under a cliff, flapping its wings. It turned around and slowly flew to Xiao Wen. The somewhat trembling body made Xiao Wen feel that the other party might not just be afraid of him, but simply tired. So Xiao Wen took out a piece of meat from the storage space and threw it up. In the little crow's subconscious swallowing, read violent novels, just on Feilu Novel Network. Xiao Wen began to wait patiently. In someone's doubts, the little crow's heart was satisfied to eat the meat. Beginning to flutter his wings, his little claws hooked up and ripped off the small note on his chest. Xiao Wen was stunned by this scene for a moment, only then reacted and reached out to take off the note. However, this is okay if it is not plucked. As soon as it is removed, Xiao Wen is stunned. He looked at the few small words written at the back of this one, and several black lines appeared on his forehead. I saw the small print behind the note, which was written crookedly. If you want to know the answer, you must be tested. Walk through this waterhole and prove your ability. You really have both a crow and a piece of paper. While complaining, Xiao Wen still looked up at the pool in front of him. Since the other party did not let him unknowingly go deep into the pool, it's that there's something wrong with it, not looking at himself. Although it is very mental, it also shows goodwill. Merely. Why is the water source under this cliff so heavy? He's never been to a place like this. How strange. Wait a minute. Xiao Wen's head suddenly had a wit, and he remembered. Linjiang City, the story told by the fat man in the tea house. From the castle at the top of the cliff, countless female corpses that will be thrown down every night fall into the river. In the end, a ghost domain was formed, and as long as people entered it, they were addicted to it and could not come out again. Thinking about what this note just said, it seems that the two can be combined. Warcraft forest. Water sources below the cliffs. Test. Do. Ghost. There is danger. When the two are combined, it is inexplicably very appropriate. No, is there really a land? Xiao Wen narrowed his eyes and looked up. The pupils shrank, the subtle fireworks condensed in the eyes, towards the top of the cliff above, carefully looked over. As the field of view continues to closer, at the end of thousands of meters of cliffs, you can indeed faintly see a sharp black dot on the top of the building in the house. No, that product is really not bragging. That's right? The gossip news that was tortured on the bed of someone's daughter-in-law is actually true? Coincidence? If it's true, I'll try it one day. Muttering, Xiaowen looked at the secluded pool in front of him, and the tip of his nose seemed to smell the smell of corpses at this moment. Xiaowen swallowed a mouthful of spit. He was thinking about a question now. If you counted according to the calculation of a female corpse thrown down a day, the prince named Adam must have a day like 3 or 5 years, right? Even if it is calculated according to 3 years, there are thousands of female corpses buried deep in this pool. Metaphysically, males are young and females are Een. When the corpses of 1,000 women who had great grievances in their lives are buried in the same place, how heavy should the Een Chi be? Perhaps, in this unscientific fusion world, there will really be some glamorous rays. It doesn't seem right. Xiaowen thought about it again. This Nima is Eastern metaphysics, not Western metaphysics. These dead women should all be foreign chicks, right? In the end, the matter produced after their death will not form something like ghosts, and will it enter reincarnation? I'm afraid that if Yan Wangyi said it, I have to see how Satan, Hades, these Western gods, define death. Maybe it's all beautiful, Piao? Surrounded by strange thoughts, Xiaowen still decided to cheat. After all, if you can fly over, why walk over? This place feels quite normal, and there will not be much movement on the big night. As soon as the thought turned, Xiaowen 190 opened the form of a half-dragon man. The pitch-black wings flew fiercely with a fierce wind, and flew towards the sky above the waterhole. Hey, this is called cheating for a while, and cheating all the time. The crow hovering in the sky on the side, after seeing the scene of Xiaowen opening the half-dragon form, the little wings that had just been flown away suddenly froze, but they were suppressed by this bloodline, and they were directly frightened and faint, falling to the ground, and their pupils flashed with a faint brilliance, reflecting the picture of Xiaowen transforming into a little dragon man. And Xiaowen, who was above the waterhole, was still congratulating himself on his cleverness, but I only felt that the sight in front of me flickered, and the situation changed abruptly. A feeling of vertigo came from the depths of his brain. Although it was very short, when he returned to his senses, the scene around him had quietly changed. The sun is shining in the sky, and the birds are singing all around. The clear breeze blows on the cheeks, causing a little ripple, which is extremely comfortable. And in this air, there seems to be some kind of strange smell, like a stimulant, like a bed pill. People can't help but wonder, such a good weather, and in the wild, is it too lonely? If you can find a beautiful woman and come to the wild together. And just when Xiaowen's thinking began to unconsciously think about right and wrong, in his ears, several Ying Yanyan's voices gradually became clear, exceptionally crisp and hooking. It sounds extremely good. Xiaowen. I finally found you. I want a kiss of true love. Xiaowen, come down. Me and Anna give you a surprise. Master, do you still want to try the feeling of being wrapped in a light mass? Come down. I can still become like anyone and let you enjoy the happiness of 2 generations. Stinky Highness, didn't you want to fencing with me for a long time? Come down. Mulan pouts and waits for you to come to fencing. Come down quickly, Xiaowen. Come down, we're all waiting for you. Master, what are you waiting for? Everything you want to do, we can satisfy you. Xiaowen. Can you bear to watch us alone, Stinky Highness? This familiar word after a familiar voice let Xiaowen fall into a short silence for a while. After a long while, he slowly turned his head and looked down. Poof. Ahem. I'm leaning, what the hell? Xiaowen was furious, his eyes were round, coughing violently, a mouthful of old blood rushed up his throat, almost spurting out from the tip of his nose. What did he see? I saw that in the pool below, there were 4 stunning beauties in revealing clothes. In their autumn eyes, or grudge, or anger, or charm, or heroic. It's different, but it's going to be very yearning and fascinating. The most important thing is, these 4 people actually had big bellies and looked up at him beautifully. Episode 92. In the pool, Elsa stroked her big belly and held Anna in her hand. Her eyes are calm, and the hollow ice blue dress exudes a faint blue light. It is as if the arrival of the goddess of ice and snow is guarding the life born in the belly. Anna was also holding her stomach, pouting, and looking at Xiaowen with an unhappy face. The small fist also swung at him, but then frowned, and quickly covered his stomach, as if the amplitude of the movement just now was a little large, so that the life inside kicked her in dissatisfaction, resulting in pain. Next to them, there is also a humanoid phantom light group. This light group has an outstanding figure, although it cannot see the face clearly, but it is obviously female. It's just that the belly of this phantom is actually very large, making people have countless grooves in their hearts, but they don't know how to spit it out. Not only that, next to the 2 of them in a light group, there is also a handsome female soldier holding a silver-white spear, wearing thin armor with a 3-point line, and a red belt on her head. He was frowning, holding a gun in one hand and covering his stomach with the other, looking a little uncomfortable. She was also looking up at Xiao Wen, her handsome eyes full of anger, as if he was very unhappy with the smelly highness who forced him to pout his fencing. But the matter has come to this, I can only touch my big belly, and there are some helpless emotions in my beautiful big eyes. Xiao Wen was stunned in the air for a while, not a word can be spoken. After a long time, he swallowed a mouthful of spit, twitched his hot nose, and took a deep breath, eyes fixed on this picture of ghosts and beasts, and muttered, "No, fly. Can I also be recruited? What a move. Isn't this benefit a little too good? I don't even dream of thinking so, it's too. Tai Temo can hold my mind. Princess Anna, Princess Elsa, Princess Mulan, spirit of nature." Xiao Wen smacked his lips and looked at the surrounding scenery. Oh no, it should be looking at the 4 stunning women below, and the little heart is pounding. Although he knew very well in his heart that this was fake, it's just an enchanting environmental energy, covering this area, so that as soon as people walk in, they will be affected by the illusion. But this kind of energy, for Xiao Wen, is not a big problem, but it can arouse a certain thought in his heart. Isn't this scene right now what he has always wanted to achieve in Xiao Wen's heart? In reality, the princesses have not yet had a big belly, but I didn't expect to see it first in this place. What is the test? Or what about welfare? Xiao Wen spread his wings in the sky for a long time, but did not heed the call below and flew down. It's not that he doesn't dare, but because he can feel that under this cold pool, there is a very cold energy. If he goes down, although there is a high probability that nothing will happen, however, the power of the fire element in his body may cause great damage to these ghost-like existences. Maybe it's baked out? This is what Xiao Wen does not want to see. If these ghosts are souls or something, if he goes down, these poor female corpses are the real ashes, and they will never be able to live beyond life. Xiao Wen looked above for a long time, until he felt that the dragon roared and could not hold back, and then forced himself to turn his head, with a lot of nostalgia in his eyes, and left the princesses who hooked him up. He originally wanted to leave after the white, but after thinking about it, it seemed that he could say something. So Xiao Wen turned his head and faced these little female ghosts with big bellies, and said seriously, "I don't know why you are like this, but if you are still sane, you can listen to me. The first thing I want to do when I come to the Warcraft Forest this time is to behead Adam who hurt you, so. Should it be considered friendly? Ahem. Forget it, so be it, this time I am satisfied, this action of covering the stomach is too promising, this is equivalent to not wearing, but more attractive clothes, and this look, hiss. What a hook. It's this humanoid ball of light, although it's very comfortable to call the owner, it's a little strange, pay attention next time." Saying that, Xiao Wen flapped his wings, the ultimate flame flashed in his eyes, and the huge spiritual power suddenly exploded, shattering his spiritual illusion. "Goodbye, I will take a step first, and there will be a period later." Xiao Wen didn't look back, flared his wings, and quickly walked away from here. He didn't know if these little female ghosts had wisdom, after all, these hallucinations should only appear when he wanted to see them the most. But the reason he told them to kill Adam, the most important reason is that the benefits given are too large. Coupled with the fact that they were also beautiful girls who were mutilated, it always made Xiao Wen feel a trace of pity in his heart. After all, they all died, not only did not go to reincarnation, but were trapped here, tortured day and night, which is really an extremely painful feeling. Just like a horror TV series that Xiao Wen watched in reality, The Old Corpse of the Mountain Village, it is also similar to this. But more bloody, more terrifying and cruel. After watching this movie when Xiao Wen was a child, his mother was scared for 3 years. Sleeping in the evening would rather hold back than dare to get out of bed to go to the toilet. It's just that when I grew up, in order to face the fear, Xiao Wen went to see The Old Corpse of the Mountain Village again, although I really want to say that real men are not afraid at all, they are actually afraid. It's just that after this, I also know the deeper meaning of the film. If you want to be liberated, you must dissipate your previous resentments, so that you can turn into samsara and start a new life. So whether he can do it or not, at least it gives the other party a hope, that's the hope of revenge, isn't it? Shortly after Xiao Wen flew away from this place, the sky on the secluded pool became strange and gloomy again. Under the shroud of night, countless transparent ghosts began to appear densely on the surface of the water. The number of ghosts of these almost covers the entire deep pool. As far as the eye can see, there are thousands of them. Every ghost's face is filled with incomparable pain and resentment, and I don't know how much humiliation and pain he has suffered in front of him. After a while, these ghosts slowly began to merge, and finally turned into a white ghost visible to the naked eye. If you look closely, you will find that the white ghost figure staring at is actually densely overlapped with countless ghost shadows, and in her body, countless voices with negative emotions also sounded. If this voice is listened to by ordinary people for a second, they will be stimulated by this negative emotion and make the spirit crazy instantly. After a long time, this noisy voice that condensed thousands of negative emotions began to slowly blend and become one. It ended up being a weird sound opened by countless overlapping voices. Kill Adam. For us. Kill Adam. Extrication. Xiaowen did not hear this voice, and he had already come to a cave on a cliff at this time. At this time, Xiaowen did not turn back into a human, and after feeling the abnormal aura in the cave, he flew in. Although there is no little bat to lead the way, his intuition tells him that the person who invited him is inside. Boom. Squeak. The wind at the mouth of the cave was very loud, and as soon as Xiaowen entered the cave, the coercion of the half-dragon bloodline on his body woke up the countless bats sleeping at the top, and began to flutter in the cave in panic, and a hoarse and ugly squeak occurred in his mouth. These squeaks resounded together in tens of millions of steps, which added a touch of coldness and weirdness to this cave, and Xiaowen was also a little irritated to hear it. He slowly moved towards the inside, with no intention of destroying these bats. It makes no sense to enter people's territory, wake them up to sleep, and kill them all. If these bats are pets that exist inside, wouldn't this killing be very embarrassing? Anyway, not a bat dares to approach within 5 months of him. Read the violent novel. Just go to Feilu Fiction Network. The place where Xiaowen is located seems to be a vacuum area. Except for the 5-meter area here, all around is a place where bats are rampant, and these bats, all galloping towards the outside of the cave at a very fast speed, all want to get away from the terrifying creature below as soon as possible. It's just that there are too many bats in this cliff. For a while, it couldn't stop. And Xiao Wenji did not lift the half-dragon form because of the very strange fluctuation in the deepest part of the cave, which made him feel a little strange, so he kept transforming, just in case. Xiao Wen's ears moved, and he carefully perceived, the depth of this cave can be seen from the sound of the wind in your ears, and if you want to go to the end, you must be at least thousands of meters deep. The dragon's keen perception allows him to receive many sounds that humans cannot hear, so as to make specific judgments. Hide so deeply. Raise corpses in it. Just when Xiaowen was entangled, whether to directly put a flame into it and force the creatures there out. A strange fluctuation suddenly sounded in the air. All the bats froze. The terrifying creak in the sky also stopped abruptly, as if they were manipulated. They all hung neatly upside down again in the top darkness. The entire cave, in a very short time, fell into silence. Guest, we have no malice, please come in and talk. A faint voice suddenly came out of the cave, a little hoarse, as if he hadn't spoken for a long time, but you can hear it, and it doesn't mean it. Boom, boom. As soon as this voice fell, the two sides of the pitch-black cave suddenly lit up one after another of the orchid flames, illuminating this 1,000-meter-deep cave from the outside to the inside. Xiaowen looked at the blue fireworks that lit up from the mouth of the cave to the depths of the cave, raised his eyebrows, and didn't say anything, and the huge black wings suddenly opened up, flying towards the cave at a speed equal to the flames. Soon after, the place where the fireworks were lit reached the end. Xiaowen fluttered his wings and fell from midair, curiously looking at the layout around him. This place, which looks like a stone chamber that has been hewn open, is very simple, but it can be seen that it has human habits. For example, this stone table in front of him, and several stone benches next to the stone table. Xiaowen looked at the room, and the voice appeared again. Guest, please sit. Only this time, the voice did not come from far away. Xiaowen turned his head and saw a stone door open. A half-human bird with an eagle's head? His figure and wings are slightly similar to Xiaowen, and they are also semi-animalistic. However, Xiaowen's appearance is much better than him, although his face is covered with black crystal scale armor, but he can see that it is Zhang Hansom's face. Unlike him, it is a bird's head. Distinguished guest, I can feel that the bloodline in your body is an extremely noble creature, and I also feel a powerful threat in you, it seems. Let you pass the test of the heart pool. I am smiling generously. Oh? Ben Xintan, this name is a little interesting. Sure enough, is that seen my heart? Xiaowen muttered in his heart, but he was not polite, and sat on the stone bench with his butt. Poof, click, the moment the stone bench goes down on someone, it was naturally pierced by the sharp tail, just like cutting tofu, and it shattered without feeling it at all. This sudden sound couldn't help but make Xiaowen squat in place, and after being stunned for 2 seconds, he got up again with some embarrassment. Sorry for accidentally breaking your stool. As Xiao Wenqing spoke, he looked up at the eagle-headed guy. After sensing that the other party did not seem to pose much danger to him, he was no longer vigilant to maintain the state of a half-dragon. He turned into a human form, changed his clothes in front of the other party, and sat on the other side of the stone chair. What kind of existence is he, who can transform between dragons and humans, and his clothes? How did it suddenly appear in the hand? Sorcery? Or magic? It's a very mysterious existence. The content of the Eaglehead's brain supplement now is exactly what Xiaowen hopes the other party to think. Staying strong and mysterious is the beginning of winning good exchanges. Distinguished guest, my name is Yoff, what shall I call you? Xiaowen rolled his eyes. My surname is Long, you can call me Mr. Long. Oh? This surname? Are you from the Great Xia dynasty? You can also think so. Okay, let me go this far, let's get down to business. What answer do you want to tell me? Yoff also sat on the stone chair on the side, looked at Xiaowen for a moment, and asked a question. Before answering your question, I want to know what kind of attitude you have towards the great lord of our Warcraft forest, the Lion King Adam? Attitude? Xiaowen glanced at Yoff with a smile. The other party's words are very interesting, seemingly praising Adam, but between the words, there is a touch of not so respectful. Xiaowen thought for a while, did not answer his question, but asked instead, recently, the Warcraft forest rioted and attacked the frontiers of the Great Xia dynasty, and I found a problem, that is, among these exotic beasts, each of the alien beasts, Dili Hao, has a red crystal on its body, and the interesting thing is that after I came to the Warcraft forest, the alien beast with this red crystal on his body would always lose his mind when he saw me and pounced on me to kill me. But creatures without this red crystal on their bodies may attack me, but that's just the instinct of creatures, can't beat it, he still knows to run. Saying that, Xiaowen looked at Yoff, who was smiling and was about to explain, suddenly changed his style and continued. Of course, this doubt, you don't need to answer me first, I don't want to ask this question. He looked at the winged Yoff with a playful expression. The army of monsters in the Warcraft forest attacked the city, and in all the number of riots, there was not a single bird beast flying in the sky. So, thinking that these birds and birds listen to you so much, can I guess that in fact, these birds and beasts do not obey Adam's jurisdiction, they have another ruler, or rather. Is it the actual controller? And this existence does not coincide with Adam's opinion, well. I hope that there was a feud between the two sides, so that he did not cooperate with Adam's actions, but asked the other party what he thought of Adam after a powerful human who could turn into a dragon came in. It's just that after telling the truth, I find out that the other party is a gang with Adam and exposes intentions, right? In Xiaowen's tirade, Zhou's eyes gradually fell silent, the respect on his face also dissipated. Alas. The words are all finished by you, and I still say a fart, ah. Yoff complained in his heart, and for a while he didn't know how to speak. P.S. Well, to tell readers a lot, I've been thinking about the plot recently, and the amount of updates will be less. The comment area scolded too hard, I haven't seen it for a long time. It is recommended that everyone raise it, if it is raised to death, it is okay. This proves that the author has opened a new book, or Animation Plus Disney, you can continue to watch it for free. Dog's Head Saves Life, JDP, Episode 93. He looked at Xiaowen and was silent for a moment, and finally said softly, I observed you before you entered the Warcraft forest. I didn't want to care, because a weak human entering the Warcraft forest and encountering a strange beast has only one ending, that is, death. But what I didn't expect was that your combat power was so powerful, and it was a no-brainer to deal with those exotic beasts. And what you are wearing is obviously the costume of the Dashya people. Adam led the alien beast to slaughter the town of Dashya, and a powerful human like you entered the Warcraft forest, for the purpose. I can probably guess one or two. For example, in search of the truth. Kill Adam, so I let the little crow take you through the test of the heart pool. As long as you pass, you are a brave person with a strong mind, and you are qualified to come here and fight side by side with me. Speaking of this, Yoff's expression was a little embarrassed, but the helpless thing is that my idea is still a little too naive. You can even turn into a dragon, this is something I didn't expect anyway, although I haven't fought you, but from this bloodline suppression, I know that when I fight you, the loser will probably be me. So now it's time for me to beg you to deal with Adam together. Joff's words were very sincere, and he told Xiaowen in detail the cause and result of the matter. When Xiaowen heard a satisfactory reply, he did not say anything modest and polite. He is indeed strong, but he is even stronger when he becomes a half-dragon. This is beyond doubt, no need to be modest. He said calmly, you are very honest and wise, the purpose of my coming to the Warcraft forest, you are not wrong. I think you can tell me some of the answers about the Warcraft forest, right? Xiaowen's words seemed to be a reassuring pill, which made both of Yoff's bird eyes shine. Guessing is guessing after all, and only by determining the answer can it become a reassurance. Yoff's beak breathed a long sigh of relief and said with a smile, thank you for the compliment, this is the most wonderful answer I have heard in decades. Mr. Long, what answers are you wondering? Specifically, if you know, I will spare no effort to tell you all. Xiaowen shook his head, no. Not which, but all the answers, about the beginning, the process, and the outcome, I want to know. Xiaowen had many doubts, and he needed a complete storyline to understand everything. He believed that his doubts, Joff also knew it. The first step of cooperation, Yoff has been honest, and next, he will inevitably tell Xiao Wen about everything that happened in the Warcraft forest. Everything. The answer? Yoff was startled, his tone was a little exciting, and the pupils in Hawkeye 440 were a little confused, as if he was remembering something. After a long time, he sighed softly, did not hide anything anymore, and began to explain it all. As you wish, Mr. Long. It's been almost 50 years since then. I've almost forgotten what it's like to be human. Since you want to know everything, then I'll start before the Warcraft Forest disaster. As the story slowly unfolded, the dusty history of the Warcraft Forest also quietly appeared in Xiao Wen's ears. The story. Let's start 70 years ago. 70 years ago, the name of the Warcraft Forest was not its current name, its name was Green Forest. In the Forest of Greens, there is a country called the Kingdom of Herter, which is not very large, with a population of only about 100,000. But because the mountains are fertile and the monarch is wise and benevolent, the people's life has always been peaceful and contented, and the life is dull, but it is very good. Until the birth of Prince Adam. Perhaps God did not want to see the beauty of the Helter Kingdom, and he gave birth to Prince Adam, so that this source of evil had a noble identity. From the beginning, everyone did not notice the abnormality of Prince Adam. It's just that over time, it feels like he's aggressive, doesn't like to talk, never has a smile on his face, no one can be his friend, and likewise, no one can see his heart. At first, people thought it was just isolation. So the king and queen tried to open Adam's heart and make him a normal and enthusiastic person. After everyone's meditation, I finally found one, a seemingly beautiful solution. This plan is to select 10 of the most amiable beautiful women in the Kingdom of Hult, let them contact the Prince Adam, try to open his heart, and make him lively and happy. However, it was also because of this decision that everything changed, and the original sin in Adam's heart was born. These beautiful women came to the palace full of confidence and began to contact Adam. At first, he seemed to be indeed infected by the affinity of these beautiful women, and his face gradually changed from cold and stiff, to later showing a bright smile, looking. They were very welcome. This also calmed both the king and queen, looking forward to the change of Prince Adam. And just like that, a year passed. Everything began to settle down. The prince began to be willing to talk to people, and when he saw people, he would smile and be polite. It seems that it has begun to have the temperament and identity of a royal heir. Merely. Among those 10 women, there are always strange things. For example, after someone falls asleep in the evening, they feel that they can no longer open their eyes, and when they wake up in the morning, they find themselves extremely tired, and their lower bodies are congested and puffy, as if they have experienced something terrible. For example, some girls wake up in the morning and find that their wrists, hands, and feet are bound, and their bodies are even scarred, and they will cry out in pain even when they go to the toilet. There are even people who feel that they can't breathe at all when they sleep in the evening, as if their nose has been pinched fiercely, and they want to open their mouth to breathe, but they find that their throat is also blocked by something foul-smelling. The feeling of incomparable suffocation gave them a sense of déjà vu that they were going to die in the next moment. This kind of thing, in the 10 girls in the castle, always happens from time to time. They sensed that in the castle, some monster was watching them and doing something cruel to them. If you stay like this, you may really die. So they told the person they trusted the most, and that was the one they had been with. Adam. Every time Adam would show a warm smile, his eyes were like a clear pool, like a gentleman, soothing the hearts of women. With Adam's comfort, their trepidation was also patient, trying to adapt and forget. But recently, their mentality finally went wrong after the 2nd year. The demon finally couldn't bear it anymore and began his brutal killing. In just half a month, 3 of them died one after another, and the deaths were extremely miserable, as if they were alive. What an incredible ordeal. But just when they wanted to leave the castle, mutation suddenly born. The king's inexplicable tragic death, the queen was also treated inhumanely, and finally died tragically. Prince Adam took the throne without anyone's doubts. After he completely took power, evil began to spread rapidly, and his nature creeped everyone out. Adam's brutality cannot be described in words. The entire kingdom of Hurt lives in fear every day, never to be happy again. Even in just 3 years, a kind of death ballad appeared in the kingdom of Helt. If the girl is born, please strangle her as soon as possible. Drown her, fall her, starve her, go find a new family, stay away from cruel demons. Don't be unbearable, she survives in the future, will live in land prison. This situation lasted for 18 years. During this period, whether it was an outside caravan or a traveler, as long as it was in it, there were things or people that Adam liked. These outsiders would be imprisoned forever in the kingdom of hurt until they were tortured to death. And one day, 18 years later, the turning point came. A strange witch walked in. She was beautiful, like a fairy. It can be said that in the entire history of the Held Kingdom, she is the most beautiful woman. With just one glance, you will be infected by the elegant aura on her body, which is unforgettable. At the first sight of everyone, they knew that this girl was about to be used by the devil and become a broken rose. She looks like this. Maybe it will be used by demons for a long, long time. This means that the torture she will suffer will be more cruel and longer. But no one dared to remind her to leave quickly. The entire kingdom of Hult has long been firmly controlled by Adam. If you want to survive, you have to survive and avoid the whole family being beheaded. So, naturally, the witch was invited into the castle by Adam in the name of hospitality. At this point in the story, Yaf's tone was a little paused. Xiaowen's eyebrows were also picked. He found that this story was not much different from those rumors. After seeing that Joff was silent, he then opened his mouth and answered. Then the next story, is it that the prince made a move on the witch resisted. She thought she could escape dashingly, but she didn't expect that the prince was not an ordinary person at all. He has great power and incredible abilities, and in the end he can only use his life to unleash forbidden magic and turn the prince into a beast. Hearing Xiaowen's words, Yaf nodded. His face was not surprised, and added, after the witch unleashed the life magic, the entire human race of the castle was affected and turned into something strange. She also died because of the release of this magic. Her body turned into starlight and dissipated, and only her soul remained and was able to be reincarnated. Xiaowen tilted his head and answered, is it that this forbidden magic will eventually leave a rose, and when the rose petals are scattered, all the humans in the castle will become creatures with only animal instincts and no reason? Yes, Mr. Long, it's no secret. I once specifically spread this news to the outside world, and if you can hear it, it proves the effect is not bad. It turns out that you guy passed it out. Read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. Not a bad fart. The fat man was still tortured in the bed of someone else's daughter-in-law. Otherwise, the devil knows these things. No, even if you know, then someone must believe it. Xiaowen thought that this was a story tortured in bed, and he complained in his heart, speechless. But Yaf did not know this, and he began to say seriously, Mr. Long, let's continue. The following information is very important. You need to listen carefully. The prince has powers that are not ordinary people, because he is in the green field. No, it should be in the Warcraft forest now, and a red crystal has been found, so it has the current power. This crystal, no one knows how it was born, including me and Adam. At that time, as Adam's bodyguard, I entered a mysterious area with him in the process of chasing an alien prey, and saw this red crystal growing in the center of the four wonders of earth, feng shui, and fire. At that moment, all of us had only one thought in our hearts, and that was to eat it. As long as we eat it, we can become the masters of the Warcraft forest, with a long lifespan and great power. In fact, you should have guessed the answer. This red crystal was eventually eaten by Adam. It's just that when he was fetching the crystal, he asked me to take it. Fuck. This beast, I almost died in it at that time. When I got this crystal, I found that there was a raised place on the back of this crystal, so I broke it open and quietly put it in the cuff. Yaf said, and a mocking look appeared on his face again. Not only did I hide a small portion, Adam also let me try a small piece first. After seeing that I was okay, he ate most of the red crystal that was still left. When I returned to the castle later, he tortured the prey to death, so I let me throw her down the cliff. At that time, with some kind of expectation in my heart, I separated a small part of the stolen crystals and fed them to her, and I myself also ate the remaining crystals into my stomach. Another silence. After a long while, Yaf continued, and then, this is what you see now, the arrival and curse of the witch. Adam becomes a beast, and I am affected and become an eagle. Maybe it's because of that red crystal. After Adam and I were cursed, the Warcraft forest changed and finally became what it is now. Adam used countless methods to slow down the rate of rose decline by nearly 10 times, but time is relentless, and in the blink of an eye, decades have passed, and the rose petals will finally usher in a complete withering. To slow the speed again, you need to use another evil method. That is, use human death to counteract the power of this curse, so that the speed of the rose withering will slow down again. Even if this slowdown, it will only take a few days or months. What? Xiaowen suddenly got up and scolded angrily. This beast of a, Lao Tzu thought it was a big deal, but he didn't expect that because of a little slowdown, he killed hundreds of thousands of people like this. Damn it. Mr. Long, don't get excited, the king and queen are still very good, don't scold them. Xiaowen squinted. Do you dare not greet his mother just now? Yav shut up dumbly, sat down on the stone bench, skipped the topic directly, and continued, Mr. Long, don't get excited, I haven't finished talking yet. For the slaughter of Dasha town, it is actually only one of the secondary reasons. Xiaowen was stunned, sat down with a frown, and continued to listen. There is another major reason, and that is that Adam has found a way to break the curse. If you want to break the curse, you must find the girl who is reincarnated as a witch, make her fall in love with Adam, and the curse can be broken. The world is so big, of course it's not easy to find someone, but it's not a fantasy. When the witch's soul drifted away from here, she was restricted by the Warcraft forest, so it was impossible for her reincarnation location to be too far beyond the Warcraft forest. All the alien beasts manipulated by Adam will have a red crystal in their bodies, and this crystal will not react in any way when meeting ordinary humans, but once you meet the girl who is reincarnated as a witch, it will instantly glow, and the command hidden in the head of the alien beast will order them to stop the slaughter immediately, and turn into the girl who reincarnated the witch and bring it back safely. Adam will use a special ability to make the witch lose her mind for a short time and fall madly in love with him, thus breaking this death curse. It is the answer to the alien beast slaughtering city, Mr. Long. Almost everything I know is over, do you still have any doubts? At this point in the story, the context of the matter is actually very clear. The doubts in Xiaowen's heart also dissipated. Episode 94. When Yof's voice stopped, Charvan relived the story in his mind. After pondering for a while, he asked the last few questions. So how did you fall out with him? In that deep pool, is it also because of the influence of that red crystal that there are so many welfare little female ghosts? If I fight with Adam, do you think I can beat him to death? Faced with Xiaowen's 3 consecutive questions, Yof first nodded, then shook his head, and explained, my heart has never been on Adam's side, so why divide? After the witch turned us all into beasts, I knew what Adam, a madman, would do, so I sent my wife and children out of the Warcraft forest and came to the bottom of the cliff alone, silently waiting for the opportunity. I don't know about that deep pool. But if you have to explain, it is indeed only that red crystal fragment that can explain the occurrence of this phenomenon. As for you and Adam at war. Saying that, Yof stopped his mouth and glanced at Xiaowen with some embarrassment. It seems that he wants to say something, but because of politeness, it is difficult to speak. You just say, I want to hear a definite answer. As soon as Xiaowen saw the other party's eyes, he knew that this matter might not be very easy, but you have to know the reason so you can think of a solution. Yof thought for a while, the bird's beak opened and closed, and organized the language for a while before explaining, Mr. Long, I can feel your great power, but in the Warcraft forest, it is not a simple matter to defeat Adam. He has most of the power of the entire Warcraft forest, and this power is incredible. Fighting here is not so much a battle with Adam as it is against the will of the entire Warcraft forest. Even if you can kill him, he can be resurrected in any corner of the Warcraft forest, and even become even more powerful. Xiaowen frowned, how do you say this? I can't tell clearly, this should be the power of the red crystal. I know this, because I was killed by Adam once, and finally revived somewhere, and I have a stronger control over birds. But for a long time, I almost lost my human emotions and almost lost myself. Jof's words made Xiaowen a little unexpected. He didn't expect this red crystal to be so perverted. What magic does it have, and it can actually bring people back from the dead? This incredible feature is simply a plug in existence. But, is there no way? Xiaowen looked at Yof. Since the other party had just formed an alliance, it proved that there was a way. I think, since you can find me, there should still be a way to solve it. Xiaowen said affirmatively. He tilted his head, suddenly had a flash of light, and continued, the witch's forbidden magic is so powerful. Is there a possibility that when the rose completely withers, and Adam loses his humanity and reason and becomes a beast, wouldn't it be easy to deal with him at that time? Yof smiled wryly and shook his head. Mr. Long, maybe at that time, it should be easier to deal with a beast without wisdom than it is now. But in fact, this is also a palliative thing. Because Adam still has great power and the protection of the will of the Warcraft forest, and have you ever thought that a beast that has lost its mind will do something even crazier? We can't imagine. Saying that, the wry smile on the corner of Yof's mouth became a little worse. Moreover, there is another key factor, that is, when the rose withers, I will also lose my mind and become a monster without humanity and reason. It's not just me and Adam, the witch's curse has been applied to the entire Warcraft forest through the red crystal. For example, you have just passed through that deep pool, and the thousands of ghosts in it will be completely out of control because of the withering of the roses. It's okay that they are such a strange thing that is rampant in the Warcraft forest, but if they run out of the Warcraft forest, it will be bad. It's true that I didn't think it through. This double, but Xiaowen did not understand. He listened to what Yof said, and he only felt that the other party wanted to express a subtle meaning. That is, if the rose withers, he will be gone, and the meaning of planning an alliance will no longer exist. Xiaowen stopped thinking about it, and directly lifted the table to see the answer. I hate thinking about these strange things the most. Let's say it quickly, playing dumb puzzles or something. It's the most boring. Yav coughed twice and began to get to the point. Of course, there is a way, and there is more than one. Adam is the source of the power of the entire curse, and if he dies, we have the potential to return to our human form, although this is just my guess. The best way to want Adam to die is when he leaves the Warcraft Forest range. The power of the red crystal is not infinite, and outside the scope of the Warcraft Forest, although Adam is still strong, he will no longer have the power to resurrect. And now the time is right, he will go in and out of the Warcraft Forest from time to time, personally go to find the existence of the witch reincarnation. Take advantage of this opportunity, we join hands to take it. Yav's paw gestured to a throat-slitting motion. Then the problem is naturally solved. Xiao Wen's eyes blinked. Is it that simple? What about the other way? Another way. I don't know if Mr. Long will you like it. Yav's eagle face actually showed a wonderful look that all men understood, and said with a thief between words. Forgot to tell you that my birds have found the witch's reincarnated girl and know where she is now. Oh, found it? Xiao Wen's eyes lit up, and he involuntarily asked, what? Pretty, isn't it? Big or not? Cocked or not? Is it in good shape? Leg length or not? What about temperament? Xiao Wen's words seemed to have touched some kind of switch. Suddenly, a touch of clarity appeared in Zhao's eyes. Don't hide, Mr. Dragon. The witch's appearance after reincarnation is actually exactly the same as when she came to the Warcraft Forest decades ago, or even younger. I've never seen anyone more beautiful than her, nor have I seen a woman with a better figure than her. As for her temperament, I can't tell, I don't know, but it's very attractive to birds. Xiao Wen squinted. Oh, so, you have an idea about her? You're a bird now, animals and humans, and when you do that, your paws. No. Xiao Wen's voice was interrupted. Mr. Long thinks too much, it's just appreciation. I don't know what I do now. I've loved birds since I revived and my family passed away. A few years ago, I married Xia Bai as a wife, and now we are very affectionate. Little Bai? What is that? Birds? Yes, she is a big pure white eagle, the most beautiful bird I have ever seen. She, has a very high IQ, is gentle and virtuous, knowledgeable, and will peck feathers for me, and is ready to give me a litter of cubs. Stop. I'm not here to show affection, let's get down to business. Xiao Wen looked at Yav's happy appearance with a strange look. If he remembered correctly, this guy seemed to be a person. Just cursed to become a bird, and that's it. Half-orcs are still loved by individual human girls. How did he fall in love with a bird? When running errands. So many hairs, can you go down? Oh, well, business. Yav's expression changed from happiness again to men who know how to look. Blinking the bird's eyes and lowering his voice said, Adam, this man, whether when he was a human being, or when he turned into a beast, his attachment to women was already crazy. He can play, he can whip, he can kill, but if anyone dares to touch the existence of his woman, he will be pumped and divided into corpses. In Adam's eyes, his greatest obsession was to get witches. Now that the witch is dead, finding her reincarnation has become Adam's obsession. We just need to get the witch in, huh? Mr. Long, in front of Adam, you can make love to the witch, do some kissing and hugging, or if you want something more exciting, you can. Mr. Long should understand what I mean. As long as Adam is stimulated by this strange shame, his bestiality will be completely out of control, and in a very short time, he will become a lion without reason. At that time, not only did it not affect us, but if we wanted to kill him again, it would be much easier. Xiao Wen's brain made up this picture, thinking about it, and his heart couldn't help but think of the fat man who listened to the story on his daughter-in-law's bed. If he really did this, wouldn't Adam be the same as the little lady's husband? Belch. No, it hasn't started at all. Where did the Hulumber step come from? It's just that the goods are self-inflicted, don't face. Xiao Wen was opposed to this second plan in his heart. If something could really happen with Belle, it wouldn't be in broad daylight. It's okay to kiss the small mouth, do something else, even if you charge it, it is impossible to show it to others. The method is good, but Xiao disdains to use it. So Xiao Wenhua interrupted, well, tell me, where is the witch? I went to her. Yaf raised his eyebrows, and involuntarily pecked his feathers, looking very happy. It's just that he thought about it and reminded, Mr. Long, I am very happy that you can support my plan, but it may take a little longer to find the witch. 3 months ago, my birds found the existence of witches, and they also moved their entire town in advance. It's been 3 months now, and they've settled extremely far from the Warcraft forest. At our flight speed, it would take at least a month to get her back. Xiaowen sat on the stone chair, his finger bones tapping on the table in thought. The speed of the bird's flight, not even 1/10 of his. But if it is an alienated bird, such as a half-hawk like Yoff, the flight speed may be 1/3 of his. If it takes a month to go back and forth, even if Xiaowen goes to pick it up in person, it will take 10 days. During this period, if there was any riot in the Warcraft forest, he would not be able to know, let alone stop it. Anyway, he didn't look for Princess Belle to stimulate Adam. It's just simple to meet this big heroine in Beauty and the Beast to satisfy his curiosity about the fairy tale princess and his careful thinking about men. That's all, nothing else. But after going back and forth for so long, there was no need for him to pick it up personally. Xiaowen squinted at Yoff, this furry appearance, and his huge size, and asked intentionally or unintentionally, "Hey, Yoff." "Huh?" Xiaowen coughed twice, ahem. "Ask you a question, your wife. Is she big, Yoff?" Yoff's pupils shrank, gasped, stared at Xiaowen deadly, and said vigilantly, "Mr. Long, do you ask about body size or something else? If it's body size, Xiaobai is only a little shorter than me. If you ask any other questions, I can't answer them." Dog day, this guy won't like bird wife, right? My little white is so beautiful, with a slender waist, huge chest muscles, and a good bird call in all senses, and definitely can't be harmed by this guy. A dragon man, certainly more attractive than I have always been an eagle man. In case Xiaobai abandons me and runs into the arms of the dragon man, maybe he will dislike me. Joff's inner drama is incomparably rich. He suddenly regretted a little, he shouldn't have found an alliance with this guy. If this is really a human wife dragon, then he doesn't know where to cry. Can't fight and beat, handsome, just now he became a person to wear clothes, that place turned out to be terrible. Terrifying, you must not let Xiaobai get along with him in vain. Xiaowen on the side saw that Yoff was silent, and the magic was frightened and complicated. I couldn't help but glance at him angrily, and I despised it in my heart. Is this big ego like a thief necessary? How could I possibly be interested in birds, animals, or something? Send me nothing. Wait a minute. A string of names suddenly appeared in Xiaowen's head. Andy the little rabbit in Zootopia, that little bat of the elf travel agency, Mavis, or the cute dragon White Fire in the Master of Dragon Training, even the beautiful tiger in Kung Fu Panda, the little red dolphin in The Big Fish, two small snakes in The White Snake, by Suzhen and Xiaoqing, and that one head, two faces smoking big cigarettes, lowly little fox Ollie. Xiaowen's thoughts flew over, this doesn't want to be okay, just think. It seems to be really tasty. Bah. That's the animation world of the 8 Sutras, isn't it normal? You wife big white eagle, the ghost is interested. Xiaowen cleared his throat and said solemnly, don't pick it up, stay with me in the Warcraft forest and deal with Adam. Let your wife pick up Belle, the little girl should be 180 pounds, your wife is so big, she should be able to fit it, right? At this moment, Chief Yoff breathed a sigh of relief, and felt that the invisible hat on his head finally dissipated. This guy doesn't speak clearly, how can he say that other people's wives are not big in front of other people's husbands? It's really scary to death. Yoff despised and complained in his heart, but nodded hurriedly in his mouth. I'll let Xiaobai pick up the witch for nothing, my wife is really big, you can rest assured that the witch will be delivered safely. Xiaowen glanced at Yoff, nodded, and said in his heart, as long as your wife personally picks up, instead of you going by yourself, I will rest assured, especially relieved. After the matter was roughly settled, the conversation between the two suddenly became relaxed. Yoff also began to talk about his love story with Xiaobai from time to time. In order to bring the relationship between the two sides closer, Xiaowen also began to be unwilling to be outdone, telling the story that he and several girls around him had to tell. Time passed slowly, and Xiaowen, who was deep in the cave, did not know where the specific time was. I just feel that the atmosphere is almost the same, and it's time to go. Finally, Xiaowen got up from the stone chair and prepared to turn and leave. He paused in his steps, and suddenly thought of the castle on the cliff in his mind, and couldn't help but turn his head and ask again, by the way, Jove, is that castle on the cliff where Adam is? Yes, Mr. Long, but I advise you that it is better not to go up. Adam's perception is very strong, if you can fly up, with your strong strength, you will definitely be detected by him, which may have some bad effects on our plan. Xiaowen thought about it and felt that this was indeed the truth. Without asking more, he said goodbye, turned around and left the place. Coming to the outside of the cave, Xiaowen spread his wings and quickly flew towards Linjiang City. Episode 95. This time to come to the Warcraft forest, did not use the form of a half-dragon, it was indeed right. Under Yoff's explanation, if Xiaowen used this powerful power after entering the Warcraft forest, it would be 100% detected by Adam's perception. But now it's different. Yoff is also a birdman with a red crystal, although it is only a fragment, but with the same root. With his deliberate concealment, the aura of the half-dragon will not be easily detected by the other party. Xiao Wenfei was in the sky, and he sighed a little in his heart. I thought that this time I would come to the Warcraft forest for a long time, and there will be a high probability of producing unpredictable enemies. But the result? But it was something he didn't expect. Not only did there be no big war, but an ally was also found, and the key is that he really heard from Princess Belle. Although he went back this time, he still needed to wait for the news that Adam would once again take the alien beasts in and out of the forest. But this time, he didn't have to wait so panicked. As soon as the army of alien beasts moves, Yoff will bring his little bird to inform him and arrive on the battlefield one step ahead. But what Charvan did not tell Yoff was, as long as he saw that Adam dared to appear outside, he would solve the other party without hesitation. There was no need for Yoff's help at all, nor for Belle to be ashamed of him. The reason why he didn't tell him was also because Xiaowen was embarrassed to say, let his wife pick up Belle. In fact, he just wants to see what the Princess of Beauty and the Beast in the fairy tale looks like. If he has the opportunity, he also wants to quietly eat people's bodies and satisfy the fun of his princess collecting. It's just that this kind of thing, how embarrassing to say it, Xiaowen still wants to face. Big deal. When the time comes, chop the lion's dog head and give it to them to take back steamed and fried to apologize. With a good mood, Xiaowen returned to Linjiang City. Today's harvest made him very satisfied. All the answers he wanted to know had already been known, and he also knew that Princess Belle had been found outside of 260. Next, just have to wait. Whether it is the entry and exit of the beast Adam in the Warcraft forest, or the arrival of Princess Belle, it is a good thing for Xiaowen. The former, of course, needless to say, lost the ability of revival and immortality that Yoff spoke of. Then Xiaowen is really not afraid of Adam, he has the magic of the fire element. Yoff also does not know, it must not be difficult to deal with a small Adam. Moreover, he and Adam had never had a fight. So Xiaowen is very confident, even if he can't beat him in the Warcraft forest, he has the confidence to retreat with his whole body. Finish things early, then there will be nothing to do, you can go back and continue to tease little Mulan on fencing, how good it is. Of course, if Princess Belle's character and appearance are in line with his aesthetics, that Xiaowen doesn't mind hooking up with a princess in a fairy tale world again. He is now a prince of a country, and in the fairy tale world, the princess falls in love with the prince, and the princess falls in love with the prince, there must be not much difference. Moreover, Princess Belle is not a real princess in terms of blood, it's just that she represents a feminine symbol of kindness, strength, and bravery, and is named a princess. So Xiaowen has the confidence to add a beautiful Disney princess to his turbulent heart. I only hope that Belle's appearance is not too pulled, if it does not conform to his aesthetics, even if she is a famous animation heroine. The old Cersei Xiaowen, who began with good looks, will also leave without hesitation. The princess or something, if she looks ugly, he disdains to pursue it, and he doesn't want to give it in vain. Be a friend at most, and that's it. However, according to Yoff, the other party was a pure and lovely person, with a convex front and a back, and was rated as the most beautiful woman he had ever met in his life. Originally, Xiaowen was quite looking forward to it, but when he knew that Yoff's wife was a small white eagle, he no longer had expectations for Yoff's aesthetics. Now seeing is believing, is the only truth for him to judge his appearance. Back in Gangnam City, Xiaowen did not return to his small courtyard, but hummed a little song and walked out of the city gate again, bringing back the little mare that he had forgotten. Seeing that the other party was tied up for a while, Xiao Wenjue decided to add food to her this evening, and by the way, find a few more stallions to serve her. Coming to the familiar Yuelai Inn, Xiaowen explained that Xiao Haoxing treats the little mare, and it is best to roll his eyes today and not get up. Then walked into the inn, as usual, found a position by the window, ordered a few small dishes, and ate slowly. Xiaowen is very idle now, and he has nothing to do, so he eats very slowly, and he is not in a hurry at all. But as he ate, his ears moved. Turning his head, the afterglow swept away. Huh? It was actually Brother Mengda. He actually saw the fat man of Chow Thief a few days ago, the same position, the same partner. I saw that he was spitting fragrant and spitting in his mouth, and he was suppressing his voice and roaring something angrily. Xiao Wen's eyes lit up, thinking that he could eat melons again. I didn't eat the food anymore, and with the curiosity of the gossip, I pricked up my ears and listened carefully. You melons, say that God knows that you know, and I know? Now it's okay, it's only been a few days, and it's all over the city. What bastard can't control his mouth and reveal this? Stand up yourself, don't force my old king to use force, he will really carry a knife and cut people later. The fat man's words fell, and the 5 people who ate with him seemed to flicker, all revealing strangeness and weakness. For a while, no one answered the stubble. Hey, dare to do it, right? Say ah. It took Lao Tzu so much effort to make her see water dry up and twitch, so as to find out the news. Such a difficult confidential information, just passed on by you like this. I don't say much, after all, it is a story, and it is not bad to be a symbol of Lao Tzu's ability to fight on the battlefield. But the question is, why did you reveal the matter between me and my daughter-in-law? Do you know that people's husbands have already separated from the little lady, and now this little woman is crying and running to me and making me responsible for her? Isn't it clear that I am the one who lacks virtue? What Lao Tzu said to you group of friends last time, I really regret dying. Now the chickens and dogs in the house are jumping, and Lao Tzu spent a lot of effort to barely calm down. Do you know that this little Nizi is not as big as my daughter-in-law? Now my son is guarding against me like a thief, and he almost moved out. Silence, still no answer. But by the window, there was a low cry. I lean on, the east window incident? Mistress? Family ethics? Father and son? This melon can be eaten. Xiao Wen's eyes became brighter, beckoned to change to Xiao Er on the side, and asked him to cut a plate of watermelon up. While nibbling on himself, he looked at the fat man's table. Although their voices are relatively low, they are generally not heard. But for Xiao Wen, the distance within 10 meters, even if someone farts, he can also detect it. Not to mention the human voice at this distance, as long as there is nothing that obscures the transmission of the sound, then he can hear it clearly. After the fat man's complaints were said for a long time, their table was silent for a long time. Only then did a thin man finally raise his head, glance at the silent companions around him, and his face showed that a dead pig was not afraid of boiling water, and simply said, "Okay, this thing is not right for us. I invite you for this meal. I apologize, and I hope Brother Wang will forgive me. Call me if you have something in the future, feel free to call." His voice fell, and the rest of the people instantly chimed in. Ah, yes, I'll invite you for the next meal, Lao Wang, don't be angry. Hey, I'll invite you to the next meal, just say what you want. I'll have a good meal then. You guys. Alas, as long as Lao Wang you don't worry about my wife, daughter-in-law, daughter, granddaughter, or something, I break the fortune, please go to the hook bar for 3 days. After this series of words, the 5 people on the table actually said the reparation of the treat. The fat man looked at them dumbfounded, and was stunned for a long time before he said incredulously, "Don't tell me that the 5 of you didn't control your mouths and sold Grandpa and me?" Ahem. Read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. Several different dry coughs came, representing their embarrassment, but they did not speak, using tacit answers to indicate the answer. However, the fat man's reaction surprised everyone. Although he was annoyed, but seeing that this group of pickers all said that they had invited guests to dinner, and they could play in the hook bar for 3 days, he didn't say anything more. Instead, he took the wine glass and took a sip. His eyes actually showed a hint of pride, and the style of words changed, and he said with a sigh, "This matter. It is also a blessing in disguise. The little lady looks beautiful, the body is still tender, and his dead ghost husband is a 3-second man, so this little lady is not black and not slippery by the scourge. Now that I marry into the room as a concubine, although I don't have the thrill of stealing food, when I think that he is my friend's daughter-in-law, doesn't that feel? Ha 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 ha. Blessings in disguise, blessings and misfortunes depend on each other. Grandpa is now living comfortably. The little lady will serve people again. My wife is also obedient by my discipline. My son was sent by me to run errands. The home is quiet and harmonious, except for the rumors outside. This day is still very comfortable. I'm not in vain. Ouch, back pain, yesterday tossed too much. Do you have any prescriptions for tonics? I'll buy some. Tonight fight 3 leprechauns, ha 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 ha. Silence, another deathly silence. Xiao Wen by the window was gnawing the melon halfway with interest, and suddenly felt that the melon in his hand was not fragrant, but it was as uncomfortable as a nibbling piece of flight. He silently threw away the watermelon, stood up, checked out and turned around and left the Walai Inn. What kind of man is this? He came to hear the big melon eat, not to hear him blessed with misfortune. Seeing the fat man so cool, this is more uncomfortable than killing Xiao Wen. With envy and jealousy, Xiao Wen returned to his cabin. Meiji took a cold shower to cool down her heat. In the afternoon, Xiao Wen practiced his marksmanship, combined with Mulan's family martial arts, so that his marksmanship began to be more agile and less bulky. In the evening, Xiao Wen casually coped with the night, wandered around Linjiang City for a while, and then returned to the small courtyard. I have to say that in the era without electronic products, although there is a lot of leisure, but calm down to feel the slow pace of life, there will be a very relaxed and comfortable feeling. From Frozen to now, counting the time, Xiao Wen has not felt the charm of the internet for almost 20 years. But the world that is more interesting than online unreal is what he is experiencing at this time. Dreams, strength, princesses, juicers, adventures, magic. Xiao Wen felt that enough. Come to think of it, I really miss Anna and Elsa. After washing, Xiao Wen returned to bed and prepared to lie down. When he closed his eyes and prepared to sleep comfortably, a throbbing feeling suddenly came from his heart. Hiss. Xiao Wen frowned a little, opened his eyes, covered his chest, and looked at the ceiling suspiciously. Why do you suddenly have heart palpitations? It felt like something dangerous was coming towards me. Adam is coming? Probably not. Even if he found me and sensed the aura of a half-dragon on me, he would never dare to step out of the Warcraft forest. Unless his humanity is extinguished and he is completely animalistic, this will not be possible. Xiao Wen thought about it, and suddenly diverged his thoughts. Could it be that it's because that fat man's little life is too comfortable, which makes my heart throb and want to follow the trend? It's kind of possible. Which daughter-in-law is willing to give me? Blah blah. What do you think? Although Ming Detsitsi is good, where is it good to collect these original beauties, such as princesses? It should be that I think too much, sleep and sleep, people live and do not sleep, that's not interesting. After the throbbing in his heart dissipated, Xiao Wen closed his eyes again and fell into sleep again. The reason why his heart is so big does not take this throbbing seriously. It's not just because these palpitations don't have any signs, it just makes people feel like the body suddenly went crazy. After all, women have so many times a month, and men have heart palpitations once a month, isn't that quite normal? It's just a vignette. Moreover, even if there was really any danger, Xiao Wen really had nothing to fear. In the face of absolute strength, all demons and monsters are paper tigers. Those glamorous evils, come one he kills one, come a group he kills a group, sincerely wrapped up in death. Tong Sua is not deceived. And when Xiao Wen was full of confidence and fell into a good sleep. In a distant place in Daxia. By the river, under the big trees. A woman wearing a long floral dress, under her soft silver-white long hair, her eyes were covered by a black silk scarf. The butt is sitting on the big sword, supporting the sides of the sword, looking at the sky with his eyes blank, and muttering in his mouth. The general location of the evil dragon has been determined, and it won't be long before I can catch up with him. Alas. If you can fly again, it will be much faster. The Warcraft forest of Daxia. Prince? Hopefully not him. After a long time, the female warrior 3.4 looked at the sky in a state of distraction and gradually returned to reason. She lowered her head and took out a small jade flute between her round chest, looking a little melancholy. I don't know when the seal will be unsealed, this weak appearance of human beings. It's almost getting used to it. Oh, now Have you ever fought a dragon? Can destroy the powerful existence of the Huns. I'm afraid I'm going to die. In the ancient prophecy, only by killing the evil dragon and returning this world to peace and order can the passage of that place be opened. To go home, or die. Or go home. She stood up from the ground, picked up the big sword, her wrist shook lightly, and suddenly, the silver light on the sword body flickered, and the impurities in her whole body were instantly cleaned up. Then the female warrior tapped the big sword twice, and in a flash of silver light, the big sword began to shrink, and finally turned into the appearance of an ordinary short sword. Puff, the sound of the sword entering its sheath came. Silky hanging her sword behind her waist, she mounted her vigorous brown war horse, and with a resolute face, she once again set out on the road to find the evil dragon. Daxia, southern Xinjiang. Kill kill kill. Kill the Huns, defend the frontier. Although tens of millions of people, go. On the battlefield, Mulan was holding the Langqinjiu dragon spear given by His Royal Highness, straddling the white horse, and was confronting the 3 Xiongnu tribal leaders in front of her. She was covered in blood, and her handsome face was also stained with blood, her eyes were murderous, and her eyebrows were angry. This was their first large-scale battle after confirming the Xiongnu chaos. As a white-robed general handpicked by His Highness, she certainly became the vanguard of the rush. Commanding the vanguard army, he did not hesitate to take the lead in waging the war. Episode 96. At this time, the war has entered a white-hot state. In the enemy camp in front, Mulan can enter and exit 7 with only 1 shot and 1 horse, as if it is a no-man's land. The great General Li He sat in the rear, coordinated the frontal battlefield, and focused on a stable word. With the life-saving things sent by the prince, Xiao Mulan killed murderously today. In the face of the joint encirclement and suppression of tens of thousands of Xiongnu, Mulan was not shocked and rejoiced, and stood on a white horse. His eyes looked at the Huns who rushed over, and the battle where he shot arrows with a bow and fired 10,000 arrows in unison. Her blood-stained jade hand touched her somewhat wet and blurry eyes, and then a warm touch of blood and sweat was thrown to the ground by her. Dada. Between the dripping blood from her fingertips, Mulan raised her breath and concentrated her whole body strength in her left hand holding the gun. Her right hand has become weak and she can now only hold a gun with her left hand. But this, it doesn't affect her to kill. Driving. At the moment when the chest is strained by the inner strain, without fear, Mulan rode into the enemy camp again. 10,000 arrows were fired in unison, and a man wearing blood-stained red armor, holding a blood-dripping silver spear, and a white horse on his crotch, like a god of war, rushed into the 10,000 arrows. Although one person, but there are thousands of troops. Blood stained the robe through the armor red. Who dares to fight with the Yang? Gulai rushed to help Da Xia, only the white robe Hua Muli. In the distance, Li He, the great general who followed His Highness's will, had been silently watching the movements of the white-robed general's side. Although he sits in the Chinese army and has an overview of the overall situation, his heart is also boiling with the heroism of this tiger General Mulan. I haven't seen such a brave soldier in many years. Now that it has returned to its former glory, how can you not be happy? The prosperity of the great summer is just around the corner. Your Highness, the battlefield is changing rapidly, and the minister cannot guarantee that Muli will be safe. Only after the killing of blood and fire can you refine into a true fierce general. Muli's strategy and intelligence are all first class. As long as he refines for a few more years, he can add another handsome general to my Da Xia. Life and death are fate, wealth is in heaven. If Your Highness don't blame. Li He's muttering, Mulan did not hear. At this moment, although she has killed many people, but in those heroic eyes, there was still a twinkle of spirit, and it was not eroded by the killing. Facing the obstruction of several Xiongnu leaders who suddenly appeared in front of 27, Mulan even burst into laughter. As soon as the spear swung, there was a buzzing echo sound in the air, and a little blood on the tip of the gun also spilled down. Kill! A hoarse and sharp voice came from Mulan's small mouth. Murderously, she was already holding a spear and killing it all the time. Kill the Huns, guard the gates, protect the land. Swords and shadows, flesh and blood, corpses everywhere. Yingjian the female middle, Mulan should be one of them. There are two sides to the story. Xiaowen didn't know all this. He is now lying flat and spends his days in idle off moments. Go to bed in the morning until you wake up naturally, and then start practicing guns. When I have nothing to do, I go out to wander around, tease birds to play chess, hook the bar and listen to music, bully little girls, listen to some gossip news, etc. But I enjoyed it and lived like an ancient brother. Anyway, you will lie in, he will not go again. There, Charvan can no longer find happiness. When I think of a good ethical drama, evolved into a one-person solo and enjoy the ending of 3 generations of happy male protagonists, the feeling of eating melons but eating xiang, it's not interesting. But these days, without the tension of the sudden attack of the Warcraft forest, Xiaowen has played a lot of fame. The reason is that Xiaowen is really bored, and he wants to experience the favorite place for ancient men to go. What is it? So with a critical look, he walked around the inner city and around, and finally stopped involuntarily in the 2 places of Gulen and the sect division. In this kind of reasonable and legal place that can make men happy, Xiaowen really wants to go in and see. After all, in the real world, A.S. has nothing to do all day, so he catches these places for assault. I don't know how many young ladies have been cut leaks like this, and they have been sent to the news, making a huge mess, and everyone is at risk. Xiaowen pondered for a long time, and finally chose the sect division to criticize. In his opinion, although the hook and the priest are essentially the same, but it is clear that the priest is a little higher. Because the hook bar is a gathering place for ordinary dust women, it is more suitable for merchants and people to go in and consume happiness. The sect division is different, and the women who have been exiled inside basically have some identity. Maybe it's a young lady from a certain family, or a talented girl in an official's family. Anyway, in Jiangning City, those women in the families of princes and nobles and courtiers who committed crimes were generally charged into the sect and became official prostitutes. Specifically, the hook bar belongs to the private office, and the teaching department belongs to the public office. In the public sect, ordinary people are not even qualified to come in. And most of the women in it belong to the profession of geisha, which is relatively clean. Although the name of this profession refers to listening to music and dancing without selling oneself. But for a small number of people with strength and identity, in fact, there is no difference from the hook. It's just cleaner, it's not black and autumn below, but white and tender, and it's comfortable to use, that's all. Xiaowen just started, still with some small thoughts in his heart. Take out the prepared identity plate and mix into the teaching division. Want to go in and listen to a circle to drink tea, see the young lady singing and dancing or something. If you can, it is not impossible to come from a merry story, let him abstain for so long brothers and brothers, only go to the kidney and not the heart, simply happy with each other. But the result was unsatisfactory. Xiaowen entered the teaching division, sipping melon seeds, listening to small songs, watching the young ladies dancing the stage, or playing elegant and cold music, or playing tea and playing some small games. After turning around, he hardly saw anyone who could make his spirit chicken move, nor did he have any flower women who made him think, and he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed in his heart. Although their physiques and bodies are very good, or slender and plump, or upturned in waves, their skin is also good, white, and can be regarded as beauty. And Xiaowen doesn't know if they have practiced. In the sect division, these women who belong to the level of Huakuei, everyone's temperament is different. There are cold and beautiful, there are also poor Chu-Chu, there are not a few gentle and elegant women, and there are quite a few enchanting and colorful flowers. Anyway, the temperament is good. Thinking of the noble status of these flower kuei, but now they can only be carried under the body of some people. This feeling of contrast makes people who come here brazenly want to be abrupt, that old and astringent heart, everyone knows. But it's a pity that in addition to feeling good-looking, Xiaowen has no fluctuations in his heart. Because of the appearance and temperament of these women, it does not meet his appetite. Or in other words, after the beauty of Anna and Elsa, Xiaowen's aesthetic threshold has been raised a notch, coupled with the wonderful experience with the spirit of nature later, and after meeting Mulan, I was attracted by her true heroic temperament. Xiaowen's understanding and throbbing of beauty has also been raised a notch again. Now look at these flower leaders of the sect, although they are indeed beautiful, they do not meet the appetite of the old Xiaowen. So after listening to the music for a few days, Xiaowen was not interested. It's just that Xiaowen holds the beautiful mentality of saving the wind and dust woman from the good spirit. Among all the sect masters, a royal sister-type flower leader with the oldest, most familiar body and the most temperament was selected as the target. This is one of the few things that makes him feel good. Although the other party is the oldest, he is only 4 out of 20. It's just that at this age, in the sect division, it is no longer delicious. In her kiosk, there are hardly many people lingering. The place also belongs to the kind of remote place where no one cares. Xiaowen watched so many Huakuei's performances, only in her eyes, she saw the strong emotion of wanting to leave this place. This kind of emotion may be difficult for others to detect. But Xiaowen could completely read this emotion from her eyes. It was based on this factor that Xiaowen decided to help the other party. Although the other party's face is not so beautiful, it is not bad, and it is better than a reality. It's not like the other flower kuei deliberately showed. In this day and age, women who can think this way, Kuei-sai is worth helping. After all, sisters, aunts, beautiful young women or something, the mature charm and temperament on their bodies, there is a saying, Xiaowen actually likes it. Those ancient natives who did not know how to appreciate beautiful young women were really cruel and did not understand the good of their sisters at all. So Xiaowen sighed, using his identity as the son of a fake heavy minister in the capital, read violent novels, just go on the Feilu novel network. At a relatively cheap price, I bought this old and weak 24 royal sister, Huakuei, then let people remove her pariah status and fulfill the other party's wish. And the most interesting thing is that this Huakuei is actually a clean body. It is said that there were nobles who helped her, which exempted her from the unspoken rules of serving people. For many years, I just played piano music, sang songs, tasted poetry, and didn't even dance. In addition to not being able to teach the teacher, I am quite comfortable. After so many years, the nobleman is no longer here, but Yue is still there, and no one dares to touch this money-losing goods. Now Xiaowen's status is higher than that of nobles, and he can easily choose this money-losing goods from the priest of the teaching workshop, which makes the old bastard also propose to buy 1 get 3 free when he collects money. That is, to buy this flower kuei, the 3 little maids around her also gave it to Xiaowen. Xiaowen felt that this was very good, a flower kuei who could not do anything except qingqi calligraphy and painting, but he needed someone to take care of him, so he nodded and agreed. He knows that some good things that are done halfway away are likely to become a bad thing. So Xiaowen bought a house in the safest place in the city. With the identity of this noble son, he told the local government officials to take more care, and then dashed away in their "we understand" eyes. In addition to listening to music at her at first, for the rest of the time, Xiaowen never saw this flower leader. I only know the other party's name, Xiaoyuner. There is a saying called, it is to go to the clothes, empty to hide the merit and name. That's what you said, right? Men's hobbies, women of the Liang family go into the water, and persuade women to follow the good spirit. Xiaowen felt that the latter was indeed very cool. It's just that before leaving, he still adhered to the spirit of copying the public and wrote a poem to the priest. The hands are like soft thorns, the skin is like curd, the collar is like a grub, and the teeth are like a rhinoceros, the head of the moth eyebrows, the clever smile, the beautiful eyes. The inscription is "The young woman is good." This poem tells everyone that the beauty of a mature woman is rare and beautiful in the world. Afterwards, Xiaowen put down his pen and left dashingly, ending this journey of listening to music by the priest. In the following days, Xiaowen returned to his daily life. However, with the circulation of his nameless poem, in just a few days, a strange upsurge was set off in the entire Linjiang city. Walk the streets, pubs and teahouses, and even the Guilin Theatre. Whether it is a literati or a small citizen in the city, they are all discussing how good mature women are, how good older women are at housekeeping, how flowery they play in bed, how strong their fighting power is, and so on. Xiaowen always heard conversations like this in the tea house. I tell you, I'm not afraid of how good-looking teenage girls are, I'm afraid of how sultry young women in their 20s and 30s are, you know, all of them, let them be obsessed and intoxicated. Oops, yes, reasonable. Since ancient times, affection can't be retained, only young women win people's hearts. Gee, the widow is good, the widow is a treasure. Lao Tzu is the young who does not know that the widow is good, mistakenly took the girl for a treasure, and now regrets dying. Hiss, this young mature woman will only know the general understanding of progress and retreat after the age of 30, the noble bed under the bed is sultry, the understanding of the style has a charm, it is indeed suitable. Ah, cut, you and I flat-headed ordinary people, know that young girls are precious, young women are more expensive, if there is a rich woman, both can be thrown away. Reasonable. Reasonable. Children up to the age of 50 can accept it. SHHHH, Brother Zhang's taste is heavy, and the little student admires. Hey, that's poverty, which limits your imagination, brotherly. This listens and listens, and if you are not careful, the painting style will change 427. And during this period, Xiaowen, the initiator, also had a resounding title, Poetry Familiar Noble Son. As the name suggests, it is his poems that bloom only for mature women, and should also be passed down to the beauty of mature women. For this name, Xiaowen neither likes nor dislikes. He doesn't just like beautiful women, he also likes pure girls, cute lowly, cold queens, enchanting witches, childlike giants, and so on. As long as his appearance and temperament can get his aesthetic threshold, Xiaowen likes it and will not treat it differently. It's just that these days continue until the second week. It was broken again by the arrival of a bird. At dusk, Xiaowen had just returned from the river. In that place, there is a group of white-bearded elderly people who like to play chess. So Xiaowen adhered to the beautiful character of respecting the old and loving the young, and unceremoniously went over and played happily with them. With all kinds of modern tricks and ways that do not talk about martial virtue, Xiaowen was a big killer, and these old men were severely abused, refreshed. Although when he returned, he was told not to go over in the future, saying that if he went to play chess again, he would make the old man lose his life. But happy today, isn't it? It's a big deal to change another river beach tomorrow, and continue to look for those unfathomable old men who are unfathomable, looking for chess friends. So Xiaowen was satisfied, ate a meal, and returned to his small courtyard. But as soon as he entered the door, he sensed that something was wrong. Because on the branch in the courtyard, there is a small crow, quietly watching him. And on the little crow's body, there is a small note, which seems to be used to convey information. After seeing Xiaowen come in, it fluttered its wings, jumped down from the tree, stayed 3 feet away from Xiaowen, and stopped flying forward. The fear revealed in the small black button-like eyes can be clearly felt. Are you the little crow I almost stabbed in the right last time? Xiaowen is not blind to people, and for any other animals, he basically can't tell who is who. His doubts, the little crow did not answer. Just constantly scattering wings, small claws scratching around the chest. Finally, the small note was successfully ripped off, floated into the air, and was caught by Xiaowen in his hand. Xiaowen knew that most of this little note was brought by Joff, and the reason for this must be that something big has happened. So he didn't care about the little crow, directly spread out the note, and looked at it carefully. There is a change in the Warcraft Forest. The birds I sent secretly inquired to confirm that they will leave the Warcraft Forest tonight and attack a certain city in Daxia. You need to be prepared. This time, the number of them assembled is more than several times the usual, almost close to the number of 90% of exotic beasts in the entire Warcraft Forest. I feel that Adam has made a big move this time. He is very likely. It is to attack the great Xiaolinjiang city. You'd better come to the Warcraft Forest now, and we'll discuss countermeasures together. Episode 97. Xiaowen carefully read the letter, his expression flickered, and he muttered in his mouth. So suddenly, as soon as it came, I directly put a big move, and 9% of the monster forest attacked Linjiang City. I have to say, Adam, you dog guts. It's really TM. Xiao Wen didn't dare to imagine that without his arrival, with the existing troops and top-level combat power of Linjiang City, what kind of bloody scene will it be to face the sudden attack of 90% of alien beasts from the Warcraft Forest? Such a large-scale attack, that is really likely to lead to the fall of Linjiang City, leaving millions of people in the city subjected to a brutal massacre. Xiao Wen never understood at first why Adam was so persistent in attacking Daxia. Even with Joss's explanation, he had doubts at first. Was Adam an idiot? According to Joss's description, the witch is obviously the appearance of the Western girl, and reincarnation cannot be cast in the Daxia region. Could it be that Adam is a face blind and can't tell the difference between hair and skin color in the Daxia people, and their rough appearance is completely different? Fart. Xiao Wen doesn't believe this. A person who has not yet lost his mind and can't even think clearly about this is a real intellectual disability. But then Xiao Wen thought about it and found the only reason. Adam's slaughter of the people of Daxia was not to find witches at all, or rather, to kill by mistake than let go. His biggest purpose was simply to slaughter the people of Daxia, and use the death of the people of Daxia to briefly continue the withering speed of that cursed rose. If all the people of Linjiang City were slaughtered, it would be the death of millions of people, in exchange for a short period of several years. It's really... His heart is damned, muttering, Xiao Wen put away the note and turned around. Finally, he glanced at the small courtyard where he had been living for a long time, then walked into the house and took out his prince's seal in the storage space. This seal has been placed in the handsome tent since he came to this world. The great Xiao Prince's seal, in some cases, was more reliable than his crown prince himself. The emperor and prince have had it for generations, but the imperial seal and the prince's seal are the only two since the founding of the great Xia dynasty. Xiao Wen took out 2 pieces of paper, took a pen and wrote some words, and then stamped the prince's seal. A few moments later, Xiao Wen strode out and mounted the little mare that had just recovered from the stallion's barn. Galloped towards the most magnificent building in the inner city of Linjiang. Linjiang City advocated Hao Wen, who was a first-class minister of the great Xia dynasty. He must have seen what the prince looked like, so Xiao Wen did not intend to show up directly. After coming to the inner city center to settle the little mare, with his superb skills, Xiao Wen flew all the way to the wall, quietly sneaked into the city lord's mansion, and found the room of the city lord Hao Wen. Then, he put the written note into a thin bamboo tube, tied it to an arrow, and shot straight into the table in the room. Swish! Bang! The sound of breaking the air sounded, and the arrow feather passed through the window and was heavily nailed to the table that was still lit with oil lamps in the house. Huh? Who is it? In the low roar of the city leader Hao Wen, Yu Guang suddenly saw the arrow feathers on the table. Dangerous! He instinctively threw himself into the corner and dodged, without any hesitation, and immediately shouted loudly, "Assassin! There are assassins!" And at this moment, Xiao Wen had already volleyed into the air, stepped on the top beam, and quickly left this place. He did not stay in the city, but found a remote place. Transformed into the form of a half-dragon man, he volleyed up and sped straight towards the Warcraft Forest. 10 minutes later. City Lord's Mansion. Zhang Haowen walked out from a group of attendants who surrounded him. After searching around, the escort found that the assassin had disappeared, apparently having fled the place. Zhang Haowen started panicking, and now gradually regained his composure and sanity. Dare to assassinate his existence in the heavily guarded City Lord's mansion, it is almost impossible for anyone in the entire Linjiang City to have this ability. In this world, you can't fly to the City Lord's mansion with any light skill. The perception of that large number of military generals guarding is not for decoration. As long as you dare to come, from tomorrow, you can experience the joy of losing your legs. Therefore, Zhang Haowen subconsciously felt that this was very likely. It was the monster sent by the demon who constantly slaughtered his Daxia people in the Warcraft Forest. But what surprised Zhang Haowen was that in addition to the entry of this arrow feather, the other party did not kill him immediately. The oil lamp in the house is open, and I look from the direction of the arrow hole outside the window. It was clear that he was actually sitting on the other side just now, correcting today's official documents in Linjiang City. The other party not only did not have an arrow piercing his head, but also shot the arrow feathers at the table on the other side, and then quietly left the place. Strange. It's really strange. Under the protection of the escort, Zhang Haowen walked back into the house and came to the place where the arrow feather entered. It wasn't until he walked in that his eyes lit up slightly. This is... Zhang Haowen raised his eyebrows, and under the light of the oil lamp, he saw a small wooden tube tied to the back of this arrow feather. He didn't think much about it, reached out and wanted to step forward and remove it. The city lord must not. Beware of dark devices. A lieutenant general who was protecting him suddenly raised his hand to him, preventing his hand from touching the feather like this arrow. Zhang Haowen waved his hand and gently pushed his arm to the side. Having regained his sanity, he reached out and took the arrow feather, and said gently in his mouth, "Don't worry, if this assassin just tried to kill me, what do you think? Will I still have a chance to stand here? Since the other party didn't plan to kill me, then how could there be any dark weapon on this arrow? Wouldn't this be redundant? So there is only one answer, and that is that this arrow feather is used to convey some kind of information." Saying that, Zhang Haowen had already removed the slender small wooden barrel on the bow and arrow, pulled out the small lid on it and clicked twice on the table to shake out a small note there. With a hint of doubt and curiosity, Zhang Haowen slowly opened the note. When his gaze moved down and saw the seal at the bottom, he suddenly lost his voice. Prince Seal? How can it be? What the? Dauphin Seal? Read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. As soon as these words came out, all the guards around were shocked. Even the hand holding the knife in his hand began to tremble slightly. This note, which was shot in by the assassin with a bow and arrow, actually had the prince's seal, which... It's unbelievable. Lord City Lord, this should not be fake, someone must have deliberately forged the prince's seal to deceive your trust. Zhang Haowen did not immediately read the above text, but carefully looked at the prince's seal, and then shook his head and said in a deep voice, "No, this can't be fake, the specific details, it's not convenient for me to tell you, but this is indeed the prince's seal, it's true. Why did the prince's seal appear in my study in this form?" In his heart, Zhang Haowen moved his gaze upwards with a face full of exploration, and slowly began to read from the first line of the note. Zhang Haowen personally enlightened, there is something important to say. Russia, in the study. How so? In less than a moment, the pupils in Zhang Haowen's eyes contracted sharply, his face was suddenly frightened, and his face was livid and ugly. It wasn't until he finished reading the contents of the entire note that he couldn't hold back his feet, and Dad Ada took a few steps back, almost falling to the ground. The general of the escort team on the side hurriedly stepped forward to help Zhang Haowen, his expression a little solemn. He had never seen the city lord show such an expression. It stands to reason that the appearance of the prince's seal proves that this is a letter specially written by the prince to the city lord. No matter what is written in the letter, even if it is to cut off his head, with the calm character of the city lord, it will not be this expression. What the hell is going on? Could it be the emperor died? However, this conjecture was soon shattered, and with it, something more terrible than the death of the emperor. After a long time, all the officials and generals of Linjiang City received the news that Zhang Haowen was assassinated in the middle of the night. Now they were all gathered outside the door, looking with trepidation at what was happening inside. And Zhang Haowen also recovered from the fear. He slapped his face several times. It wasn't until his pale face was bloodshot and red that he stood up from the arms of the Hu, stumbling forward, looking at everyone inside and outside the house. With a solemn expression, he said sharply, "All officials listen to the announcement, the prince's order." As soon as Zhang Haowen's words came out, everyone present looked solemn, knelt down on one knee, and looked closely at the note in Zhang Haowen's hand. For a time, in the entire wide courtyard, except for the city advocate Haowen, he was still standing. Everyone else has already fallen to their knees. The air fell into a brief silence. Phew. Zhang Haowen let out a turbid breath and spoke loudly, "Crown Prince order. The Warcraft Forest is different, 90% of the exotic beasts gather. Their number is at least hundreds of thousands. It is very likely to attack Linjiang City tonight, don't be careful. Life." The city advocated Haowen, immediately gathered the army of Linjiang City, closed the city gate, opened the moat arrangement, all soldiers and generals were stationed on the city wall, and opened the highest level of wolf smoke to prepare for battle, which is bound to protect the safety of the people in Linjiang City. Reinforcements have arrived, you are not fighting alone. After tonight, Lonely promises you that the plague of the Warcraft Forest will be completely lifted. Saying that, Zhang Haowen took a deep look at the prince's seal on the note, his eyes were resolute and calm, and he directly began to give the order. Immediately turn on the highest warning of red wolf smoke and notify the rest of the cities to enter a state of readiness. Commanding the 4 city gates in the southeast, southwest and northwest, immediately gather the defenders of the city, return to the city wall to prepare for battle, do not delay. General Wen took my Liamo Zhao, Tiger Talisman and went outside the city, declaring the eastern and western garrisons into the city to prepare for war. Make sure you don't leave a soldier behind. Tan Hu, Wang Qing, your reputation in Linjiang City is very high. Discuss, one of you is responsible for pacifying the people of Linjiang City, and one of you leads a team of 1,000 people to all villages outside the city, forcing all the villagers to take refuge in the city. Remember, you must return before dark, do not delay. After a long time, Zhang Haowen finally ordered all the orders in an orderly manner. Gentlemen, remember, be sure to inform the soldiers that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince has led reinforcements to arrive. This battle will be won, do you know? For a time, all the military generals responded, this battle must be won. This battle must be won. City Lord, rest assured, the soldiers are not a bag. As long as they hear that the prince leads the reinforcements to arrive, then they will definitely fight to the death. I, Da Xia Erlang, have never been afraid of these beasts, only death. Protect my city. The prince's reinforcements will definitely kill all these beasts. Zhang Haowen sighed secretly in his heart and waved his hand. Go, don't delay, time is running out. Yes, I'll go to Yantai to launch the wolf smoke alarm later. Subordinates will lead the army to gather an army outside the city. If the city lord retreats, his subordinates will live up to the expectations of you and the prince, and will definitely protect the people of my Linjiang city. The subordinates immediately go and bring back the people of the villages outside the city. Episode 98. As the noisy undulating sounds gradually disappeared, and finally only Zhang Haowen and his escort were left, he shook his head with a wry smile and beckoned to the guards on the side. Commander Geng, lead the escort, follow Tanhu King City, use my name to pacify the masses, gather the people into the city, I don't worry about them. But in this case, City Lord, your safety. Alas, stop. Zhang Haowen interrupted him with a wave of his hand. Extraordinary times, very treated, leaving 3 people to follow me, everyone else to go, follow orders. Geng Commander was silent for a moment, and finally did not say anything to refute it, and after saying obeying the order, he left 3 soldiers to guard the door to listen to the order, and he quickly left with hundreds of escort soldiers. It wasn't until everyone left that Zhang Haowen returned to his room and opened the letter again. His expression was heavy, and his eyes were a little sad. He believed most of the contents of the letter, but it would be unrealistic to say that the prince had already arrived with reinforcements. Although Zhang Haowen did not know why the prince's seal appeared on this note. But compared to the major news of the Warcraft Forest, it is already irrelevant. The existence of the prince's seal has made the accuracy of this news more than 80%. Of course, Zhang Haowen hopes that this is fake news, and if there is a 20% chance that he is wrong, then he will wake up laughing when he sleeps. The huge Linjiang city seems to be indestructible, but compared to those exotic beasts in the Warcraft Forest, it is not difficult to break through. As long as there are enough dead alien beasts and the offensive launched is fierce enough, then Linjiang City will definitely not be able to protect it. Even if they have an army of hundreds of thousands and many generals with strong martial arts, they will never be the opponents of these exotic beasts united. Most of the soldiers are just ordinary people, and to deal with a strange beast, it takes at least 10 people to surround and suppress, and cooperate with a military general. It is possible to contain it. And the main reason why Zhang Haowen is so sure that the prince's seal is real is that he can feel the breath of the 780 vein of the royal dragon that belongs to him in this mark. This kind of Xuanji and Xuanji breath, in the Great Xia dynasty, almost all ministers can feel it in the seals of the emperor and the prince. Although this breath has no practical effect, it is more than enough to distinguish the authenticity. Zhang Haowen paced back and forth in the room, with deep concern on his anxious face. No, although the prince said that there are reinforcements, but this so-called reinforcement, even if it comes, I am afraid it will not help. I've got to think of a way, I've got to solve this problem. Way. What can be done? Is it possible? Can you only ask God to worship Buddha? Wait. Pray to God to worship Buddha. When the words were said here, Zhang Haowen was stunned, as if he had thought of something, and his eyes were slightly bright. I don't know if the legendary spirit of protecting the city can bring the last life to my Linjiang city. Muttering, Zhang Haowen naturally got up, walked out the door, mounted his horse, and galloped towards the largest martyr's temple in Linjiang city. This is not feudal superstition. It is said that hundreds of years ago, Da Xia fought with the Western Knights with this group of wolf ambitions. It was originally a close war, but it turned out to be a group of aliens in the West in some evil way, summoning demons to attack and slaughter the generals of Da Xia. It was also at this time that countless souls protecting the country in the Great Xia dynasty suddenly appeared from the ground. Tens of millions of mysterious existences suddenly appeared in front of people's eyes. Huang Huang Tianwei poured down, and within a few minutes, these demons were slaughtered cleanly, without even a trace of breath being revealed. And after destroying these demons, they also dissipated on their own in a very short time, as if they never appeared, just a dream. However, it is said that on that day, the sky of the entire frontier was golden and like a fairyland. Since then, this incident has been recorded in the history records and has been passed down to the present day. In the historical records, these spirits of protecting the country and protecting the city were usually invisible to people. They will not cause harm to anyone, and even if the enemy comes in, they are indifferent. However, Once something strange and mysterious existence that could not be understood by them appeared above the territory of the Xia kingdom. These spirits will appear naturally, tear them apart, and finally return to nothingness. In Zhang Haowen's understanding, these exotic beasts are obviously also existences that he cannot understand. Therefore, in times of crisis, pray to God and worship Buddha. Maybe these spirits who are recorded in history books and history, and have supreme power, will help them tide over the difficulties. Temple of the Martyrs. Zhang Haowen bowed 3 times and bowed 9 times, and knelt all the way in at the door. After burning 3 incense sticks, he stood up, looked at the names on the martyrs' monument, and said softly in his mouth, "There is a disaster in Linjiang City. The Warcraft Forest and foreign beasts have invaded. I hope that all the heroic spirits and martyrs will know under the spring and protect the lives of millions of people in Linjiang City." Zhang Haowen said this seriously 3 times, only then put on the 3 incense sticks again, turned around and strode out of this place, went to the city gate, and personally supervised this time the Linjiang City Guard battle. On the other side, Xiao Wen has already rushed to the Warcraft Forest. Instead of changing back into human form, he followed the little crow directly and flew to the bottom of the cliff to meet Yaf again. "Mr. Long, you are here, come in with me." At the mouth of the cave, when Zhao saw Xiao Wen, he didn't have any polite words, spread his wings and flew up, and directly led Xiao Wen into the cave. As the blue flame lit up, the two also returned to the depths of the cave and stopped in the stone chamber last time. Xiao Wen glanced at it, and the stone chair that was smashed by his tail that day had been neatly repaired and turned into a brand new. "Steel round chairs? Mr. Long, please sit down." Yaf's wings pointed to the steel chair, and he sat down on the stone chair on the other side. Xiao Wen saw that his beak moved, and seemed to be about to say something. After thinking about it, Xiao Wen did not change back to human form, glanced at the steel round chair, and also sat down directly. This time, his tail did not poke a hole in the iron chair, and the dragon's tail struck up, but only emitted a series of nourishing steel exchange sounds, which were somewhat harsh. "Mr. Long, the situation happened too suddenly. It seems that this time, our plan needs to make some changes." Jav looked sorry for not being able to use a witch and wearing a hat in front of Adam. "My wife Xiaobai should still be on the way to pick up the witch at this time, and it seems that it is too late to use the witch to stimulate Adam's plan. Mr. Long, what are your plans?" "I will cooperate with you fully." Xiao Wen knocked on the stone table, thought for a while, and then told the plan he had built in his heart along the way: read violent novels, go on Feilu Novel Network. "Yaf, you can control all the birds in the sea forest, right?" "Yes, Mr. Long. But the birds I can control are almost all the original beasts in the Warcraft Forest. Although they have also mutated, they basically have no chance of winning against the alien beasts controlled by Adam, who are in a mad state." Xiao Wen nodded. "I know this, but the birds in the Warcraft Forest should be able to have a number of nearly 1,000,000, right?" Yaf thought for a while. "I don't know, but counting sparrows and the like, there should be some." Xiao Wen bowed his head and continued, "I have observed these birds. They are more powerful than ordinary birds in the outside world, such as the bats in your cave." Xiao Wen pointed to the top of the ghost light on both sides outside, those dense black shadows. "If I'm not mistaken, their body surface should be covered with some kind of toxin. As long as it can pierce the body of the alien beast, this toxin can invade their flesh and blood and slowly destroy it, am I right?" "It can be, but with their strength, I'm afraid it will be difficult to break the defenses of the alien beast's body surface." "Sure enough." Hearing the affirmative answer, Xiao Wen was also relieved in his heart. When he first stepped into this cave, he could feel the strange aura of these bats. At first, Xiao Wen thought that it was from Yaf's body, but it was not until he was close to the depths of the cave that he suddenly discovered that this breath was produced by all the bats condensing together. The fluctuations emitted by a certain toxin in that body made Xiao Wen feel a trace of danger. "That's fine, Yaf, just in case, you let all the birds help the soldiers defending Linjiang City, and don't let those alien beasts break through the city gate and enter and maim the people of my Daxia." As for you, 2 choices: one is to follow me to deal with Adam, the other is to directly lead these birds to help me guard Linjiang City. As for Adam's guy, leave it to me to deal with." Yaf listened to Xiao Wen's arrogant words and frowned. "Adam is really powerful, Mr. Long. If you face him alone, you will be putting yourself in complete danger. You are strong, but Adam is never weak. Beside him, there are several guardian beasts with amazing combat power, which have never appeared in our field of vision. If they besiege you..." Yaf didn't say any further, but his meaning was already clear. He just wanted to tell Xiao Wen not to be too arrogant. To deal with Adam with the power of one person, if you want to win the battle, I am afraid that the price will be paid. It will be life. Xiao Wen glanced at Yaf and suddenly felt that this guy was not bad. He chuckled and shook his head, waving his paws. In an instant, the entire stone chamber was densely covered with monstrous flames. That fiery breath like hell is terrifying at just one glance. Forgot to tell you that my strongest form was not when I became a half-dragon. Xiaowen played with the small fireball in his hand and said leisurely, "This little fireball, I can make it 100 times 1,000 times bigger." You said. When I have the two strongest attacks in close combat, will Adam really be difficult to deal with? Actually, as long as I am willing to take the time, I can even turn the entire Warcraft forest into a sea of fire and burn it clean. Then the crisis will be lifted naturally, and you can feel that the ordinary water in this world cannot extinguish my fire at all. Unless some mysterious power appears, it is possible to contain it. This power may be the magic of the red crystal you call it, but since Adam plans to leave the Warcraft forest, then he should do a good job and be roasted by me into the consciousness of braised lion's head. Yoff swallowed a mouthful of spit fiercely, feeling the hot and trembling monstrous demon flame in the sky. He also finally understood why Xiaowen had such great confidence to dare to face Adam alone. With the indestructible and terrifying physique of the half-dragon, and also possess this monstrous fire that can burn everything, even if you fight Adam in the Warcraft forest, it is difficult and almost impossible to kill this existence. This Mr. Long, why is he so perverted? I still hide it all the time. With this ability, tell me directly, why do you have to take the witch over? Tell Xiaobai that this is 100,000 fire, and this back and forth has to rest for 3 days, it's really excessive. Hey, yes. Why pick up witches? As if Yoff suddenly grasped something, the fear of the demon flame in his heart was unconsciously dissipated by half in this thought. The eyes of those eagle eyes looking at Xiaowen became disdainful and strange. The reason why this guy doesn't explain the reason, is it just a witch's body? Do you want her to hurry over so that she can arrange flowers and jade? The truth. My little white is not a witch, it is meat, it is a tool that is used as a toy by the dragon. What a crime. Episode 99. At this moment, Yoff seems to have understood the truth. He also finally understood why he had to let his wife pick up the witch, and not his faster eagle. The reason for this was not that he needed his help to stay. With the ability of this Mr. Long, he can single out Adam alone without effort. So why let his little white pick it up for nothing? His wife is so gentle and virtuous, cute and generous, with a lot of hair, and will serve people. But when it comes to the task of picking up and dropping off people, the birds he controls are much more powerful than Xiaobai. Now the truth is out. Obviously, this girl saw that he was a male eagle and did not want him to carry the witch over. It's outrageous. These two have not yet met, and they have not even seen each other's appearance, and this colored dragon has simply heard his description and has this subconscious thought. This Mr. Long's possessiveness is probably not much less than Adam's. Could it be? Powerful existences, are they all fucking possessive psychopaths? It's really possible. Xiaowen noticed Joff's strange look, and he suddenly became solemn. I thought that this bird must have known his careful thoughts, which is why it was this kind of look. Xiaowen couldn't help but cough twice, stood up directly, stood up with his back to each other, and covered his embarrassment. Cough cough, okay, time does not wait for anyone, don't make too much movement first. When Adam approaches Linjiang City, I will intercept it outside the Warcraft forest, and I won't let him go back so easily. I'll go first. When you ask the birds to help the soldiers of Linjiang City, send this letter to their commander, so that the defenders of the city will not mistakenly think that you are also here to attack their alien beasts. When the words fell, Xiaowen took out a letter from the storage space, raised his hand and threw it to Yoff. Without even turning his head, he strode out. With the flapping of black wings, it had disappeared into the stone chamber, leaving only a violent wind alone. Yoff sat stupidly on the stone chair and was stunned for a moment, and then reacted violently. Huh? Mr. Long. Wait for me. I'll go with you, just let the birds and birds give it. Saying that, he didn't care about 3721, and waved the letter into the air with his backhand. The entire eagle also spread its wings and rushed in the direction of Xiaowen. In the air, his urgent order was also heard. Raven, with this letter, immediately go to Linjiang City to hand over to their commander, no delay. The voice was still echoing in the air, and Yoff had disappeared into the stone chamber, running towards the fast blurred figure outside, playing with his life to catch up. Presently, in the silent stone cave, a listless little crow, reluctantly fluttering its small wings, flew to the ground and grabbed the letter. The two black button-like crows had pitiful expressions in their eyes, and slowly flew out towards the outside. It really regrets now. Why is it so smart in the crow? When it was chosen by King Joff as the smartest crow, it was happy for a long time. As a result, since the appearance of this terrifying half-dragon man, its cleverness has been used to send letters. Every time risking his life to deliver the letter, and risk being shot down at any time as a roasted crow. Quack, quack, quack. Humans are really terrible, half-dragons, more terrifying than humans. The little crow is still struggling to deliver the letter, and on the other side, deep in the Warcraft forest, the very top of this cliff. Outside the ruined gloomy castle, hundreds of thousands of mighty alien beasts had gathered at this time. This huge lineup, at a glance, does not even see the end. The eyes of each alien beast flashed with endless fury and tyranny. Read violent novels, go on Felu Novel Network. The red crystal embedded in the body surface shimmers with a faint scarlet light. In the forest, there is a bad smell, fishy, rancid, corpse, sour. These foul smells mingle and permeate the area. What's a little weird is that, in this area, it is eerily quiet, and needles can be heard. All the beasts stood in place like a piece of wood, motionless. There was no sound in the mouth, even the breathing sound of the tip of the nose was faintly terrifying, and the beating of the heart almost stopped. One or two is fine, hundreds of thousands of words of exotic beasts of different shapes and sizes, all like this. It looks extremely weird and terrifying, and with just one glance, it can make people tremble and have no place. This has been going on for a long time, from the sun rising in the morning to the moon now. This strange situation where the picture is frozen, with a long, piercing click sound, it quietly disappeared. The source of the sound came from the ruined and gloomy castle. It was the sound of the door opening. And out of there came a huge lion. He wore a wide and luxurious gown, and his hair was meticulously combed, like a gentleman. If it weren't for his huge beast body and the tyrannical aura in his eyes, maybe it's really mistaken that he's just a burly gentleman. Not surprisingly, this clothed lion is the former Prince Adam. In the silent air, shortly after Yadong came out, his hoarse and ugly voice came, "The people who will take that city. Kill them all." The sacrifice of millions of lives can slow the rate at which roses wither for a few more years. Now there are only 3 years left, and the power of all the human sacrifices in the city should be enough to support me for another 3 years. 6 years. Enough for me to find that abominable witch. Ha. Witch. You wait. Waiting for me. I will make you fall in love with me completely, and become my meat beast. I will torture you, imprison you, dismember you, humiliate you. I will put all the sins and sufferings of the world on you. I will make you my doll, the doll of all alien beasts. I will make you live in hell, life, no, like, death. At the end of the words, they began to roar more and more angry, and less like a personal voice. Throughout the silent forest, the last sentence constantly echoed, "Living in hell is better than dying. Living in hell is better to live than to die." Episode 100. This sound is a bit like a belly language, not like human speech. But the emotions of the words were like 9 yellow springs, with deep malice, resounding throughout the Warcraft forest, even for Xiao Wen and Adam, who completely walked out of the Warcraft forest. At this moment, he also froze his figure, and when he looked back, this malicious voice came from his ears. Is this Adam's voice? Yes, Mr. Long. He can have such great malice, presumably angry at the witch's curse. Is his voice so loud? You can hear it from this distance. Xiaowen was surprised not by words, but by this voice. They have now flown hundreds of miles, and if calculated according to his simple and crude reasoning, with this level of voice, it is not possible for a 9-star general to start, and a 10-star general to lay the bottom of the super-killing god, can only emit a voice? To deal with this kind of existence, Xiaowen is not so arrogant, it will really be fatal. At least, his voice was not as loud as the 993 law. But fortunately, Yaf immediately explained the reason to Xiaowen. Mr. Long, don't worry, I know that in your Daxia martial general system, the loud voice seems to be some kind of embodiment of its strength. But Adam is different, he is through the existence of the red crystal, in order to link the rules of the Warcraft forest, so as to make such a heavenly sound. You can think of Adam as one of the masters of the Warcraft forest, and his voice can be transmitted to every place in the Warcraft forest in a special way. But once out of the Warcraft forest, his voice will be like that, maybe not as loud as my eagle whistle. So it is. Xiaowen nodded and glanced back deeply in the direction of the Warcraft forest. He remembered this last sentence deeply. Oh, live in hell. Life is better than death. I see, it's about yourself. Okay, I'll satisfy you later. After a short exchange, Yilong and Ying did not stay in place too much. Xiaowen took the lead and flew away in the direction of the city. Yaf summons the birds in the Warcraft forest to gather and prepare for the next battle to help Linjiang City. No matter what, you must protect the safety of Linjiang City. Half an hour after Charvan left. In the Warcraft forest, a roar of a group of demons began to dance. The earth began to tremble, and the violent and fishy smell gradually emanated outward. In the hazy night, the black shadow of the alien beast that could not be seen at the end began to gradually move in the direction outside the Warcraft forest. Among these figures, there is a behemoth, nearly 10 meters tall, which is particularly conspicuous in the Black Shadow. It was a giant elephant that had mutated and was extremely huge and terrifying. On his body, there was a bright red cushioned chair, and on top of the cushioned chair, sat a lion in luxurious clothes, looking straight ahead, silent. He is Adam. Adam took out all the power of his family in the Warcraft Forest this time. It is bound to slaughter all the millions of people in Linjiang City, leaving not a single mouth alive. As for whether the Great Xia dynasty will launch an attack on the Warcraft Forest in the future, none of it matters. As long as he can find the abominable witch, lift the curse, and return to his human form, that de Xia was just a meal on his plate. When he recovers, everyone in this dynasty will be the target of his conquest. As for whether the Great Xia dynasty will attack the Warcraft Forest after this massacre, Adam is not afraid at all. In the Warcraft Forest, Adam is the only god. Who comes, who died? Adam's ambition was indeed inspiring for himself. But unfortunately, he did not know that on the road ahead, there was already an incomparably terrifying abyss waiting for him to come. As long as he dares to pass, all wishes and fantasies may turn into nothingness. His future may not be a beautiful fantasy, but an eternal death. The night is getting darker. The moon in the sky is also covered by dark clouds. A strange residual red emanated from the clouds and shone on the earth. It seems that something terrible is brewing in it, but it is hidden by white clouds and is not known. 3 hours later. Linjiang by city wall, Zhang Haowen looked at the alien beasts and birds in the sky like a big enemy. He knew very well that these birds were by no means ordinary birds. Their bodies are more robust, their speed is more rapid, and even their appearance is very different from the birds in the Great Xia dynasty. But Zhang Haowen couldn't attack immediately, because the flight altitude of these birds is not within the range of the bow and arrow. Although the sky is like a large net that eats people, none of them fly down. However, they pulled a little bit of bird, and many soldiers were recruited. In addition to this main reason, Zhang Haowen still has a doubt in his heart. Read violent novels, just go to Feilu Fiction Network. That is, in the intelligence of every previous attack by alien beasts, there were no birds. This sudden appearance of birds has no intention of attacking people. This gave him a certain unrealistic conjecture in his mind, but soon, this speculation was scattered in his heart, because it was simply unrealistic. Zhang Haowen looked at the black-pressed bird above his head, and his brows were a little tight. If these birds were the lions in the Warcraft Forest who were specially sent to attack Linjiang City, it would be a big trouble. Hopefully. I guessed wrong. The sky was too dark, and even with the illumination of torches, Zhang Haowen's vision was not so clear. But when he was still thinking about how to solve the matter of birds in the sky, suddenly, Zhang Haowen's afterlight glimpsed a dark knight flying around obliquely, as if looking for something. He turned his head suspiciously and looked in the direction of the Black Shadow. His gaze condensed, but he saw a crow circling around not far away, and it seemed to be holding a letter on its paws. What is it? Letter delivery birds? Which brainless person sent the letter, and why did it be sent with a crow? Isn't this a symbol of bad luck? Zhang Haowen's brows furrowed tighter, looking at the stupid crow above. I don't know where to fly. After thinking about it, he still spoke loudly. Hoo, fly here, can you understand what I say? Zhang Haowen's voice was very loud, and the confused little crow flying in the sky also heard the voice. It's wondering which of so many people is the manager. Turning around, he saw that the owner of this voice was a middle-aged man wearing a brocade robe and embroidered suit, and a white fish 5.3 shirt long. The little crow's eyes suddenly lit up. Among so many people, only this one wears the strangest and ugliest clothes. Then there is no doubt that he must be some special person, and sending the letter to him himself must be the right choice. Its smart little head did not hesitate, fluttered its wings, and flew slowly to Zhang Haowen, loosening the envelope that the little claw. It fell accurately on his hand. Then, without making any stops, he fluttered and galloped towards the Warcraft Forest. The task of the bird and bird has been completed, and King Yov has not let it resist the army of alien beasts. If you don't run back to hide and sleep at this time, when will you stay? What the? To fight alien beasts? How can it be? It's so smart, what a pity to die. However, it must become the existence of the Duck King, so that it will not die in the war for no reason.